the way, you're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, support the show. Patreon.com/Hal Sparks. And we have a podcast, Hal Sparks Podcast Mega Worldwide. You can subscribe to it wherever you podcast, I guess. It seems reasonable. Whatever the source of your podcasts is, it's there. Hal Sparks Podcast Mega Worldwide. Now, Trump spoke in Detroit from both sides of his body. And some of you may have seen earlier. We're going to check in on a little bit of this. We'll see how much we can stand. And yes, I do know ahead of time that he shat himself on stage. We're aware of this. You don't have to tell me. It was a big wet fart picked up by his mic. He paused when it happened and tried to speak to cover it. That's all I can tell you. It was consequential. And thoughts and prayers to Walt Nada, who is on diaper patrol. And this bullshit. Okay, first of all, they play the song. Now, back in the day, first of all, he's speaking at the Detroit Economic Club. And he used to play this song before he came out. And they would start the song. And by the time he left the airplane on the tarmac, wherever the fuck he was, and walked down the stairs and across the fucking airport grounds and wherever they were parked, and then up to the stage and through the thing, he was there just in time for sort of the last, oh God, the last chorus, essentially. It would start to swell up. Now, he's such a moron. He has no idea how long the song is and how long the distance from backstage to the thing is. He did this at the fucking hostage, the Israeli hostage memorial thing as well. And so he just stands there like an absolute dickhead until the song ends, waiting for someone, anyone, to ask him to dance. And this goes on for quite some time. And he's aware of it. You can see him going, shit, that's just the first chorus. Okay, and I shouldn't have stood here. And I'm just gonna, what? This is not a rally, by the way. This is not a thing where he's surrounded by sycophants. There's a bunch of them there because they wanted to come. But the people from the Economic Club have been coming there for a long time. They're all Republicans, but they're not, this crowd is like not even 80-20 pro-Trump. It's probably 60-40 at best. And a lot of those people are like soft maggots. They're not fully committed to this bullshit. And this shit, like, what the ever-loving fuck is he doing? He has no... He just... What a fucking weirdo. Now, when they showed this earlier, he does this all the time. And it's basically from, like, How to Be a Fascist Dictator for Dummies. Like, the complete idiot's guide to being a cheap Mussolini copy. And one of the things they do is, chapter 1, walk out while they're playing your theme song and stand there like a complete dickhead until the song is over. It might feel stupid because it is, but your cultists will lap it right the fuck up. Now here he comes over and he's like, yeah, it's great. And
thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a great honor to be here, and thank you, John. It's really wonderful to be back in Detroit, and it's a...
Why does he always... I mean, we know he has gas. We know. But why does it always look like he has gas and he's always fighting it off? Like how you roll a baby around when it's got gas and it's crying and you go, and you find the sweet spot where it can actually fart, because most of us can move around and we can fart if we need to. Don't tempt me. All right. But it always feels like he's like trying to work a gas bubble out of his intestines. Like, is this, I shouldn't have eaten that, which is a phrase he has never fucking said.
A true honor to be back at the Detroit Economic Club. It's really terrific people. I was here at 2016, so maybe it brought a little luck. We're going to do it again.
I see. So you skipped it in 2020, and
we're going to do it again.
Are you? You're going to lose Michigan again?
Before we begin, I want to send our love to everyone affected by the hurricane. As you know, it was a rough night.
But enough about me.
And it's who would have thought? A lot of things happening at one time.
Yeah, who would have? I mean, honestly, yeah, who would have thought during hurricane season there'd be hurricanes and more than one? That's never happened before. And water spouts and shit like that. Because that's brand new. Nobody even. I don't know, somebody who's been president already and had 2 Cat 5s while they were president. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, you fucking moron.
But
also, what the fuck? Like, I don't want to say I think he darkened his face because he's in Detroit. I think he darkened his face because he's in Detroit. I honestly, I won't call it blackface because I wouldn't want to break the hearts of any black person that's watching. I'm sorry. I don't know what this is. But he definitely caked on an extra layer. It's like 2 more shades and he's Gene Wilder in Stir Crazy, or in Silver Streak. I think it was in Silver Streak. Get down!
But that's just ripped through Florida and also the people of North Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, Florida again, and Tennessee.
Florida, and it bounced back. Did it circle back around just to fuck with them? And it ripped through the people, did it?
For what they went through with hurricane.
Okay, look, I understand. Helene scares the shit out of him. It's not Helen, it's Helene. And he's rolling towards that word, and the idea of trying to pronounce it properly as Helene makes him say hurricane. I get it.
For what they went through with Hurricane Helene, we had...
Yeah. Here I am, rock you like a hurricane. Hey, baby.
Quite a combination. I'd like to congratulate governors of Florida, Ron DeSantis, Governor Brian Kemp of Georgia and South Carolina, Henry McMaster. They were really hit hard, and they've done really a fantastic job. The federal government, on the other hand, has not done what you're supposed to.
I guess you're not going to thank the Democratic governor of North Carolina. Is that what it is? Or you're just going to leave them out entirely? Or, yeah, of course you are.
To be doing. In particular, with respect to North Carolina, they've let those people suffer unjustly.
I'm sorry, is there a just suffer? Sorry, real quick. So a storm hits, and there's a decision to be made. Are these people justified, and worth saving? That's a question. Now, granted, that's a question he asked himself, so everybody else must do it too, because anybody who didn't vote for him, he was like, fuck them.
And we're praying for all of those who lost a house, or much more importantly, a precious loved one. And there were many, actually many.
Actually?
In Georgia and North Carolina. Florida will rebuild and come back strong. It always does. I look forward to returning very soon. We'll be there very soon. And okay, now let's get to the reason that I'm here today. I think you're going to...
Yeah, enough of that shit. Okay, anyways, I'm going back to Florida and a couple of guys own property down there. I don't know if you know that. But anyways, those people. Anyways, what I'm really here to talk about is not those fucking assholes, am I right?
To find some interesting things, both good and bad, but we make the bad into good.
Do we?
That's what we like to do.
It is what we like to do. It's a hobby, you know.
Said inflation came in substantially hotter than...
Yeah, so did that microphone. Nice. Hey, Detroit Economic Club. Far be it from me to tell you how to invest, what to invest in. But perhaps either some better, I don't know if it's streaming software, your mic preamps could be. Maybe it's cables. But Jesus.
Inflation came in substantially hotter than expected last month. Double what was predicted, with much of the gain coming from food prices going up.
No, it didn't.
Rent and housing costs going up and car prices going up. Interest rates, as you know, are also a big factor. They're very high.
They're a big factor because they're very high.
High. They've gone from 2% when I was in office to 10% now, and you can't get the money. That means it's...
No. No, it's not 10% now. The interest rate is not 10%. It's not 10% at all. That's it. All right. I don't know what he's borrowing for or whatever. I don't know if he's trying to buy property using payday loans or what the fuck. But let me tell you something. Everybody else, it's around 4.5 to 6, depending on their credit and that kind of stuff, which is a lot for a house. But, you can refinance later if you get a good price on a house. And sometimes you can offset the fact that, you're paying more insurance or more interest rate up front. And then you refinance later, and then the actual home cost is lower. So, whatever. The only person that's having to pay 10% to borrow any fucking money is this asshole, and they don't want to give it to him anyways.
It's much higher than 10%, which really...
Right. Guess who's been trying to borrow money lately?
Kills the American dream for young people. We have a lot of young people here. A lot of
no, you don't.
College people here.
No, you don't.
The fact is that the Federal Reserve...
She's like, we got a lot of college people here. And that's just an old lady clapping for her kid her grandkid who's in college.
Brought the interest rates down a little too quickly. It was too big a cut.
Was it? You didn't have a problem with like the raising it 3 times in a row at 0.75? Every quarter going up 0.75, but down 0.5 is too much after everybody was saying this should have happened a year ago.
And everyone knows that was a political maneuver that they tried.
No, it wasn't. Especially, who really knows that it wasn't? The people of the Detroit Economic Club. All these people have been waiting. They think the Fed has been dicking around too long. Every investor thinks this. Across the board, except this fucking idiot.
Tried to do before the election, but they did the wrong thing. It was totally a political decision. And
listen, it's fucking crickets. If that was true, listen to like there would be clapping. He'd have to pause a bunch of times while talking about this. There's not a fucking peep coming from that room. By the way, you're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide, the greatest live stream in the history of live streams. Share the show out right now, and I want to welcome the trolls and maggots that are here. This is sometimes the only view they ever get of Trump all the way through doing these kind of things. They just, they turn him off. They don't want to lie. They don't want you to know the truth, but they really do. They don't watch his whole shit. They watch little clips of it and think he's a hero. They can't stand through this shit. Even the online people are like, I'm out. So welcome, you guys. You spread us out into the algorithm more than anybody else. Subscribe, everybody. We're trying to hit 100,000. I think we could do it with actual real people, not these bot fucking numbers that everybody else has. You're welcome. And by the way, has anybody else noticed shit that I've been saying for the last 3 years finally showing up in campaign ads? Has anybody seen a couple of things? Even since Roe v. Wade, the whole, like, if you have to move from state to state and women being second-class citizens, do you think, do you hear that language specifically anywhere else before it started popping up in campaign ads? That specific language, I would like to say, you're welcome. I'm glad to be of service, and you guys saw it first. Next thing, this asshole is going to tell us that China has 1.4 billion people and Russia has the second biggest military in the world. Its military is number 2, but not in the way he thinks.
Inflation has started to rise. 4 years ago when I left...
It literally has just gone down again.
left office, we had no inflation. We
had near depression. We were in a fucking pandemic.
had virtually, just think of it, we had virtually no inflation for the entire 4 years.
No, you don't get to average out inflation when the pandemic caused massive deflation and supply shock made it so that you couldn't even buy stuff if you wanted it. Get the fuck out of here. You get to prorate that. His inflation was higher than higher than Obama's the first 3 years.
So when people made money, that was really their money. It wasn't money that they have to give back to a source that they know nothing about.
Yeah, the source they know nothing about. Groceries, car payments, gasoline, eggs. You know nothing about it, okay? You're a fucking idiot. You don't even know what inflation is or where your money is going, okay? You have no idea. Trump has the same opinion about the American people that he has about Biden. Everything is they don't even know what this is. I'm the only one who knows what this is, and I barely know what they just told me. Including
government under Biden and...
Yeah, you don't get taxed on inflation, stupid. It's not all right.
Harris, because of inflation, the economy has been a total disaster.
Total disaster, absolutely. I mean, it's the greatest in the world right now, and the most resilient, and the fastest growing, and we've got some of the best unemployment numbers we've ever fucking had, and permanent jobs are stronger than they've been in fucking 60 years, and we're reshoring factories at an amazing clip. But we can't get Xinjiang cotton anymore because it's picked by fucking slaves, and we decided that's awful. So we're now paying a $1 slavery tax on H&M shirts instead of buying them cheaper because someone was forced at gunpoint to pick the cotton used in making them. Boo fuckity who.
But Kamala says that she can't think of...
Says, motherfucker. All right, I know I'm the only person who grinds on this. It says, and it's spelled S-A-Y-S, says. That says, if you see say, and then the S goes, does the S just like... Does he think they spring the S on him? And then it says, not says. And he does it all the fucking time. It's like scourge. Like he can't fucking pronounce scourge. Scourge and says. He does it all the fucking time. I know it's just me. But what the fuck?
One thing that she would do differently, she said that 2 days ago in a very unfortunate interview for her. And
you mean the one you skipped out on?
There are many people saying, in particular, highly respected analysts like
highly.
Scott Bessent, one of the top analysts on Wall Street, that the only reason that the stock market has gone up is because Donald Trump is doing very well in the polls.
What? Well, shouldn't the stock market be tied right now, I guess? In a bunch of places. Yeah, I think he said that last year at some point, and it wasn't true then.
And it looks like he's going to win. A lot of people are saying that.
No, they aren't. No one says that. That's fucking lunacy.
Who knows? But a lot of people are saying that.
Who knows? I don't know. Fucking one guy, but a lot of people, very respected, say, I don't know. I don't even want to do this fucking job.
The only way to end this suffering is to vote for change this November, because what we're doing is our country is very bad. We're being
great. Thanks, Gramps.
Scoffed at and left at all over the world. The other big news is the fraud committed by 60 Minutes and CBS, together with the Democrat Party, working together with them, which will go down as the single biggest scandal in broadcast history, I predict.
Yeah, sorry. The interview she did with 60 Minutes will be the biggest scandal in broadcast history. No, I would like to say, for the record, it wouldn't even chart. But number one, without a doubt, if we're talking about broadcast history, is the bullshit illusion created by The Apprentice that you have any fucking idea what you're talking about. You want to talk about broadcast fraud? The Apprentice. The fucking production crew admits it. They walked in, his office was dingy, the furniture was shit, it smelled terrible, the furniture was old, nothing was filed, it was a fucking mess. They had to create a fake office for him.
Dick, it's a big story. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
Tell us all about it.
They learned about it yesterday evening.
They did? Did they? I'm sorry, you have to be clear, because I thought they were busy controlling the weather.
The real answer of Kamala was very crazy or dumb. Nope.
The real answer to what?
Nobody knows what, but it was bad. So they actually replaced it. Think of this. They've never done that for me. They actually replaced it with another answer, having nothing to do with what she said before. They took another thing that she said and they just lopped it in there. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. 60 Minutes, nobody's ever seen. And they wanted to make her look as good as possible, make her look better. A big problem.
Okay, I watched the 60 Minutes thing, and they truncate answers all the time for time. They didn't swap a fucking answer out from another situation. They're talking out of their ass, or they're borrowing a piece of audio where she says the same thing in another setting, and that's another common thing they do, which he would know, and they would have done with him, or had to do with him, so he wouldn't look like a blithering idiot if he actually had shown up but he was too scared.
In our country is the fake news. We have such fake news. I mean, I've had a recent thing where, as an example, an Obama disciple named Peter Baker, he writes for the failing New York Times. He wrote a piece about me. And just one of the many things he said that was wrong, but he said that I would go around saying that I was honored here years ago as the man of the year or whatever.
Or whatever.
And I talked about how your car industry, this was long before, many years before I ran for president, maybe 18, 20 years ago. And he made the statement that
Oh, you mean when you were like at the height of palling around with Jeffrey Epstein? Like when you guys were fucking boys. I remember. Yeah, that was a good period for you, right? Yeah, you guys were fucking weekends. I mean, you guys were trading phone calls twice a day sometimes.
Never took place. That honor never took place. I was never honored here, which was quite insulting.
By the Detroit Economic Club?
Actually.
Or you mean in the state of Michigan by some randos?
I didn't remember the specifics of it. It was 18 or 20 years ago. But he said it never took place. Very much like Kamala. She said she worked at McDonald's, and she didn't.
Yes, she did.
And I didn't want to get into that, so what I did...
Oh, this motherfucker.
I asked my people, you gotta find it.
Find it, it's obvious. It was a big thing.
When? It was like 19 years, 17, it was a long time. But I was honored. And guess what they found that I was? Right here.
Tell us what it says, big boy.
Nice looking young guy. No, it was a long time ago. So this was in, let's see, this was an update of the article that they originally printed. It says, Oakland County GOP to honor Donald Trump.
Oakland County GOP. Yeah, basically that's the same as the Detroit Economic Club or fuck the state of Michigan.
Former president to speak at upcoming Lincoln Day fundraising dinner. And
fabulous.
It says down here, the county party gave Trump the Man of the Year award at the dinner too, and he was honored as Man of the Year. So here's your article right.
Sorry, you do know when you were president, right? This is an update. Former president. That means that happened after.
Right here, Oakland Press, Oakland County GOP to honor Trump. And
Yeah, what would be the date?
I have a man in the failing fake New York Times.
Real quick, can I, pardon me, chat room, I won't leave you hanging with that on the screen. Let me get something real quick, if I could. See this? Lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender Pride Award ceremony of 2004. This is a special civil rights award that I was given by the state of New York. That's David Patterson's signature over there. It's not a local thing. It's a whole fucking state. Just saying. Very proud of the work I did on Queer as Folk. Very proud to have received this. And that's what it actually looks like when a state or a city honors you. It looks like this. They give you one of these fucking things. You don't have to Google search it like an asshole. Salute to lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender advocates. Special Civil Rights Award. I, David Patterson, Senate Democratic Leader for the state of New York and New York State Senate Democratic Conference, do hereby present this award for exemplary leadership, commitment, and advocacy on behalf of the LGBT community and all New Yorkers. That's what these things look like when they're for real. Am I bragging? Fuck yes, I'm bragging, because I'm proud of the work that I do. But I'm also kind of showing you that it shouldn't be difficult. As a matter of fact, when the state does these kind of things, they have them on file. You can ask. You can go, hey, was this person ever awarded a civil rights award or a special award by the state or something like that? I go, yeah, we got it on file. They have a copy of this too. It's right. It's not a fucking mystery. You prick. Oh, God. All right, back to doing the show. God damn it! And then next time, if you're real nice, I'll show you my key to the city of Miami. I have one of those too. It's in a really nice little case. It's upstairs though, and it's on a shelf. So just saying. This is not hard. You don't have. I don't have to get fucking staff to go look up and see if maybe I was. And the fucking. All due respect, but who gives a rat fuck if the local county GOP gave you a Man of the Year award? That's not Detroit. That's not Michigan. That's not the fucking voters of the state or the people there or whatever. They didn't dude, Kiss has been honored in Detroit more times than Donald Trump has. And rightly so, goddammit. They named one of their songs after that city. It's been Kiss Day. It drove the evangelicals crazy back when I was a kid.
It's disgraceful paper. They ought to be ashamed. Whatever they say, believe the opposite. Who knows how long they're going to be around? It's killing our country. This kind of stuff. It's killing.
All right. Again, no, it's not. Dude, it's fucking. The photo is from September 23, not 23 years ago. Sorry. The photo is from September 2023, not 20 years ago. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like that piece of paper, he's reading it. It says former president honored by the local as Man of the Year or whatever. Like that's recent, dum-dum.
Killing our country. It's really terrible. I want to thank the president of the Detroit Economic Club.
Oh my God.
Steve Gregorian, who's a very wonderful guy. As well as Congressman John James, Ambassador David Fisher, Michigan Senate Republican leader Eric Nesbitt. Thank you, Eric. It's great. Where's Eric? Thank you very much. How are we doing? I hear we're 4 points up. Well, how are we doing? Huh? Yeah, she says at least. Thank you. Michigan House Republican leader Matt Hall, a very good guy. Thank you, Matt.
Hold on. Trump claimed that Baker said that I would go around saying I was honored here years ago as Man of the Year or whatever. Made the statement, never took place, and it was quite interesting and insulting accident last month. Jesus Christ. You guys need more shit like on this screen. Man of the Year by a group and complained the news media said it never happened. And that others have noted Trump's insistence that he won the non-existent award as evidence of his cognitive decline. I don't remember the specifics of it. It was 18 or 20 years ago. We just saw this. In an attempt to clear up uncertainty, his team searched for proof of the award. I asked my people, you got to find it. Why not? Yeah, okay. And guess what? They found it. And holding up a printed out copy of the 2023 article from the Oakland Press, the article said Oakland County GOP 2 honored Donald Trump. Was not an original article about the Republican nominee being named of the year, but mentioned the fact that he had previously been awarded the honor by the local Republican Party in 2013, not 18 or 20 years ago. And it says down here, the county party gave Trump the Man of the Year award at the dinner, and he was so honored. So here's your article right here. But shortly after Trump's speech concluded, the editor's note appeared at the top of the Oakland Press article. A story published in May 2023 online, and print editions of the Oakland Press reported that former President Trump was honored with a Man of the Year award in 2013 County GOP Lincoln Day dinner. A reference in the 2023 story headline, Oakland County GOP to honor Donald Trump was about the 2013 award was incorrect. Trump was the keynote speaker at a 2013 dinner in Novi, which drove a record crowd. He was not honored as Man of the Year during the 2023 dinner. Trump was honored as Man of the Decade, which was reported in the 2023 story. The note continued. We're setting the record straight after the former president incorrectly cited 2013 Man of the Year when he was Man of the Decade. So it appears Trump's inane brag was based on a reporting error. And is watch Trump, and then what else Trump said during his speech? Watch Trump completely loses train of thought in awkward speech. This is going very well.
Thank you. Is John there? John James? Where's John? He's doing well. We have some good people
great.
here.
Yeah.
Chairman of Michigan Republican Party, Pete Hoekstra. Pete.
Yes. Yeah.
Who's a very exceptional young guy. And
all right, blah, blah, blah.
Nice. Thank you. There'll be a day when we're going to work together. I hope we're going to be able to work together. Ireland many years ago. More dynamic than ever before. And I've been reading about Detroit for so many years that it's coming around, and never really got there.
Jesus, he's in Detroit.
Everybody tries so hard. But if you make the auto industry bigger, better, stronger, you don't have to worry about Detroit. It'll be very good. It'll come.
I see. So all Detroit is good for is cars, and if they don't make cars, fuck that city.
By its own. That would be non-artificial. That would.
Non-artificial. You do realize we don't have car trees, right? Vehicles are constructed. They're made. They don't occur naturally in the environment. There's not an automobile mine in central Michigan. I'm just to clarify that you actually know this.
Be the way to do it, right? You make the auto industry thrive.
That's right. And he loves Michigan.
Michigan gave us Motown, gave us the Mustang.
Mm-hmm.
Bring it back to where it was 50, 60 years ago. You can do that, too.
Yeah. Racial strife, non-union shops, people losing hands on assembly lines, no OSHA protections. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, why don't you just go relive the subplot to Slapshot while you're at it?
And that's my goal, and I'm laying out a policy that will absolutely do it. In my opinion, absolutely do it. And I've been
well. Let's hear what the policy is, man.
Very good at this over my life.
Oh, you mean? Oh, yeah, sure. Of course, you're talking about Trump steaks, right? No, sorry, Trump water, Trump vodka, Trump airlines. No, Trump University. That's what it is. Shit.
So my goal is to see U.S. auto manufacturing even greater than it was in its prime, and for Detroit and Michigan to be at the center of the action. For generations, this city and state
Boy, he's sniffing a lot. You can hear the perforated septum from the snorting of the things when he does the deep like that business.
We're the world capital of automotive production. And
yeah, you know, because the automobile started here. By the way, first person ever killed by being run over by a car was killed by an electric car. I would like to remind everyone. A moment of silence for Henry Bliss or whatever.
And American automakers rolled one iconic model off the line after the next.
Well, some of them were. I mean, when we talk about the Edsel.
Mustang, the Corvette, the Pontiac GTO. Michigan gave us Motang.
Oh, yeah. Who can forget?
I had two of them, actually. I had that GTO. Oh, I thought I was the hottest guy around. It was crazy. We didn't have all of the foreign competition then.
Okay. So you're saying they can't compete? Is that what the problem is? Foreign competition?
We were so proud to have the Corvette. Oh, if you had a Corvette. I never got a Corvette, I tell you, I feel.
They're made in Bowling Green, Kentucky.
I was left behind, but I had my GTO. I was something, man. I'd put that top down. See, in those days, I didn't mind when the hair waved. I'd go fast, and that hair would be waving, that blonde hair, and I'd say, who the hell can take me? Nobody.
And now?
Today, I'm a little more careful. I want to cover up that little area up there. It's a little bit soft up there. Cover it up.
By the way, the new movie, The Apprentice, there's a whole scene where he has scalp reduction surgery and liposuction at the same time. Clearly, it didn't take.
No, it was great, but you had the greatest product. It was just fantastic.
Fantastic.
Right here in Detroit, Americans invented the muscle car and the minivan and the family SUV. So much.
The minivan and the family SUV. That you're going with those are the big three right now. For you, that's the big three: muscle car, minivan, family SUV. Real quick, isn't the minivan the original family SUV?
And along the road, you made the American automobile an inseparable part of the.
Inseparable part. It is. It's folks. You can't separate it from America. It's an inseparable part.
And it was inseparable of.
Yeah, oh, okay. Yeah, sure. It also inseparable.
The American dream was part of the American dream.
Which is dead.
But after decades and decades of Michigan auto workers giving our nation their very best, our leaders in Washington did their very worst for them. They were terrible.
And how did they do that? With it making you mean the expansion of car companies to the rest of the world?
You lost nearly 4 million manufacturing jobs after globalist politicians gave us the twin disasters of NAFTA, which I terminated, and China.
No, he didn't. He mildly modified
his entry into the World Trade Organization. That was a very expensive two things.
Yeah, that would be Nixon. You know, Greg Kelly's other hero, and what the fuck did that have to do largely with manufacturing in Detroit? NAFTA maybe, because there were some car companies that moved their factories down to Mexico for cheaper labor.
Nearly a quarter of a million.
But again, you do realize that like the government didn't make them move that down there. They did it because they could make cheaper cars to sell to American consumers. And more people got cars because they were cheaper. At least measurably so.
A million jobs were destroyed here. Right here in Michigan alone, think of it. 250,000, 250,000 jobs.
Oh, that's what 250,000 is. Fuck, somebody write that down.
Including 40% of all of the auto jobs. And then it got to be much higher than that.
Yes, because when you have a tiny, tiny peepee No number is big enough. You must inflate the numbers all the time with your little mathematical penis pump. Just get as much out of it as you can. That's probably 10 times that. It's probably 13 times. I don't know, 50 times that. There's 100 times that, whatever. Yeah.
Detroit was decimated as if by a foreign army. This was a foreign army invading us.
No, it wasn't. Everybody left. That was the jobs were leaving. It was I guess you could say it was a retreat into the suburbs, maybe?
But it was an army of business people, very brilliant business people, that took the candy out of our pockets just like you take it from a baby.
Wait, babies have pockets? What are you talking about, boss? This baby doesn't have any candy. Check his pockets. Pockets. Oh, shit. Took the candy from our pockets. Jesus. He's been taking colloquialism lessons from J.D. Vance again.
That's how easy it was for him.
Yeah. Was it sort of like this baby version of stop and frisk? All right, baby, up against the wall. I know you got the sweets on you. So, ow! Yeah, should have told me you had one of those candy whistles in there. You'd been sucking on it. You know, at Jolly Ranchers gets sharp if you chew it. They were stopping frisking the babies.
Factories were left in ruins. Beautiful hotels and theaters crumbled. More than 80,000 homes were abandoned. You see it outside. By the time...
Did they just give him like a tour of the shittiest neighborhoods in Detroit on his way in there? Just go, told you.
I came into office after our victory in 2016. The Michigan auto industry was on its knees begging for help, gasping. And really, it was at the last breaths of life.
It was at the last breaths of life. Actually, it was closer to its last breaths of life after the 2008 crash because of the damage done to the economy by credit default swaps, largely in the real estate industry, which you might know a thing or two about. And Obama saved the big three and basically turned Tesla into a real company because they included, financing and support for electric car companies in that bill. And you were against it. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may, let's see. There's Trump. Let big three die. Let's see. Hold on. The big three car companies. Whoops. Why can't I type? God damn it. Let's see. This would be the let's see. Yeah, so let's just jump straight into this. When I took office, the auto industry was on its knees, gasping its last breath. Tariffs and taxes saved the American auto industry from extinction. False. I repeated the falsehoods that he said. Okay, if your time is short. 2008, 2009 interventions by the Bush and Obama administrations pulled out auto and auto parts makers back from the brink of collapse. Trump raised tariffs for steel and aluminum in 2018, which car makers said led to higher costs. Trump's overall approach on tariffs backfired because U.S. consumers and companies paid the lion's share of the increase. Congressional Research Service research found. This would be In 2008, the Great Recession was hurting the U.S. The auto industry was in dire shape. Layoffs were soaring at auto plants and auto parts suppliers. Gasoline prices were up. Buying power was down. General Motors was nearly out of cash to pay its bills, and Chrysler was closed behind. Interventions by outgoing George W. Bush and newly elected Barack Obama administrations pulled the industry back from the brink of collapse. Under Obama, GM and Chrysler underwent quick, taxpayer-financed bankruptcy reorganization orchestrated by a federal task force and the U.S. Treasury Department. Both auto companies emerged healthily from the Great Recession, adding jobs and production capacity. Employment in auto manufacturing in Michigan rose under Obama, stagnated under Trump, and has climbed under Biden. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the jobs. There they are. That red part would be Donald Trump. Fucking nothing. Even after COVID, there wasn't even like the jagged spike where they were making up for lost time. Just there's a drop here because of the unavailability of chips and all that kind of stuff. Remember that stuff? And then Chips and Science Act, and then we started to climb again. Yeah, steady growth. You know, like normal fucking people. What? A jackass.
And I had to move quickly. You're going to not have any auto industry here.
This is bullshitting. This is just garbage.
It was all gone.
By the way, can I just say, anybody who isn't just a Trump sycophant who, bullied their way into a ticket to this fucking thing knows exactly that he's lying. Everybody at the Detroit Economic Club, the rest of the time when they're not listening to this dumb fuck, they know all these details. They know that manufacturing stagnated under this asshole. They know it grew under Obama. They know it's growing under Biden. It's silly.
It was just about...
He might as well just come up there and call them stupid.
They were going to move so fast, and I let countries that were stealing our businesses know, you do that, I'm going to do things to you you're not going to believe. I'm going to put tariffs. They laid off a lot. They could have taken it. We were at a very vulnerable point. I let certain countries know that if you do that, I'm going to put tariffs on you, and you're going to get your asses kicked, I'm telling you. And they laid off. They really laid off. But they laid off what? We had not very much left.
Yeah, that made sense. Do you guys get all that? Somebody wrote that down, right? Because I might want to refer to it later because I might need to sleep. And reading that is the equivalent of someone hitting you in the fucking forehead with a mallet.
So just as I promised, I withdrew from the job-killing Trans-Pacific Partnership in my very first week.
Which had nothing to do with auto manufacturing and was meant to be a bulwark against Chinese hegemony in the industrial sector in the South China Seas.
And the reason I did is that would have absolutely destroyed your auto industry.
Gibberish.
You would have had none left. It would have
bullshit.
It was a disaster.
Nonsense.
And if you remember, Hillary Clinton wanted it. And
no, she didn't. She should have, but she didn't. And quite frankly, Obama was pushing for it. Hillary ran from it. She shouldn't have. She should have seized on it. But they were worried because NAFTA was unpopular and because people on our side of the aisle were anti-trade deal for a lot of different reasons. They were worried they would lose fucking voters. So she distanced herself from it instead of going, no, this is meant to be a hedge against Chinese supremacy in manufacturing. And us doing business with these smaller companies or smaller countries in the area to make sure that they don't control the entire area and the waterways around Taiwan and all these other countries. The TPP was important. And by the way, we're doing a version of it now. They're just not calling it TPP. It effectively became half the security assurances that come from AUKUS and the multilateral, they're like small bi and trilateral talks with those countries separately, but the provisions are exactly the same. Everybody knows they just didn't talk to 9 countries. They did 3 things at once.
And Obama wanted it. And then after she read the facts when I did it, she came out against it because she said, he's right. She was totally in favor of it. But when she came out actually and agreed with me, and she said, I'm also against it.
Yes, both candidates in 2016 were running against TPP for the same fucking reason. because trade deals got a bad rep because of NAFTA.
But I was there. It's sort of like no tax on tips. And then 2 months later, Kamala came out, no tax on tips. And it.
No. She said no tax on tips in the hospitality industry. Because under her plan, it just goes to people that we normally think of as getting tips. Waiters, I don't know, fucking people who make up rooms in hotels, drivers, shit like that. To you, it would be no tax on tips, period. So anytime a country, let's say, wanted to give somebody like Bob Menendez a, like, 6 gold bars, he can't be taxed on it. It's just a tip. Hey, thanks for doing us a solid.
It didn't play well for her.
It played just fine.
Didn't play well for Hillary either, obviously.
What are you talking about?
I ended the disaster known as NAFTA, the worst trade deal.
He didn't end it. They mildly modified it into the USMCA.
Ever made by our country. And replaced it with the brand new USMCA. Bob Lighthizer and his team did a great job. The best trade deal they say ever made. I actually think maybe our deal with China, but I don't talk about
Notice how there's no follow-up applause.
that deal very much because of COVID. But we have a deal with China where they buy $50 billion worth.
No, they do not.
Of our product. That was a great
No, they do not.
deal. We made a lot of good ones.
They do not buy $50 billion at all. They're not even doing 10. They absolutely do not buy $50 billion of our things.
But with the USMCA, that's Mexico and Canada, we have massive incentives to make cars in the United States of America. I renegotiated Obama's Korea trade deal, which was a disaster, to fully restore the protective tariff on foreign pickup trucks. You know, the auto industry in this country makes most of its money from the pickup truck. Who would think, right? But
everybody?
We do great. If we didn't have that, you'd have no auto industry. You would.
Bullshit. Jesus Christ, man. First of all, the most popular pickup truck in the world is the little Toyota one you see fucking everywhere in the world. It's a tiny little thing, but they sell more of them. I forget what the model number on it is, but they sell them all over the goddamn place. It's the giant fucking like redneck pickups that are, I mean, they're fucking easy chairs with a flatbed.
Because that subsidizes other things. And the only reason it does is that the tariff on every single one of the big, if you didn't have the tariffs.
You can't even finish the fucking sentence that's in the teleprompter. No, yeah, it's not the Tacoma. Well, the Tacoma and the Tundra and all this kind of stuff, and it's not the the F-150. Those are all, you know, the Ford trucks and all that kind of stuff. Ram trucks, absolutely. But there's a little fuck me. Hold on. Let's see. It's in the United States. Yes, the hold on. Let's see. Let's see. These are all the big ones. God damn it. Hold on. I don't want a top 10. I want Toyota. There we go. We'll find it. Yeah, this is the jacked up version of it. This little fucker. This guy right here. This thing right here. This is the 1980 version of it. It's the Toyota 4x4. These things are everywhere. They are all over the fucking world. They're like and they're collector's items, you know. When I was a kid, does anybody remember Stompers, the toy? Which was basically like these, you could change out the wheels and it ran on a AA battery and it would roll over shit. And it had a really strong torque engine on it and stuff. It's one of the greatest fucking toys ever. We used to collect them. It was amazing. So yeah, The S10, yeah. So this is the regular 4x4. This little guy right here. And these are the jacked up fancy ones. But the original ones are just like this. They're all over the fucking world. What he's talking about is pickups in the United States, which is the F-150, the Tacoma, and the big giant ones.
If I didn't put those tariffs, you would be inundated from all over the world, and you wouldn't have it. Every single one of the...
No, you wouldn't, because no other country makes giant fucking pickup trucks like that. They just don't. There's no market for it anywhere else.
The Detroit Big Three could right now, and would right now, guaranteed be out of business. 50% of their U.S. sales are pickup trucks. Think of that, 50%. They make all their money with almost all their money. I want to be very accurate because you got a lot of fake news back there.
No, you don't. Those are your campaign fucking cameras, dum-dum.
I want to be extremely accurate. They came to see you in Detroit. I'll tell you, that's a good thing because they're going to hear some things today, I think, that are going to be very interesting.
Sure.
Perhaps most importantly, I imposed a 27.5% tariff on all Chinese automobiles, which largely...
We just outlawed them. You can't sell them in the United States. They all have tracking software in them anyways. They can't sell them here. You can't, you have to ship it over yourself. Dum-dum.
Kept them out of the market, meaning kept them out of the market and kept Detroit in business. In other words, I kept Chinese cars.
Yeah, it's important. It's important. You know what? You've been talking to Jamie Comer too much. China cars.
Out of America. And we had to do it because when they come in, they take over everything, and you would have had...
Well, they catch fire, sure. Especially BYD, burn your driveway. Those things are amazing.
Had no car manufacturing at all. And it was only me.
Why? Because Chinese cars are so preferable to the American ones? Are you out of your fucking mind?
Me that did it. I met with a lot of resistance. And remember this, between the lobby.
Zero fucking resistance from anyone. Blocking Chinese cars coming in the United States. There's nobody in this fucking country, maybe his own family.
And everything else, it's brutal. It's brutal. Getting people to go along with you is brutal.
Why? What? Who? Name one fucking person.
Even if it's the wrong thing. They know it's the wrong thing, but they get paid a lot of money. So I just want to say, Michigan, you're welcome, because we have a little base to start off with.
A little base to start off with.
And if you look at Europe, Chinese cars have been absolutely drowning Europe, drowning it. It's killing it. But
No.
Because of me, they are not drowning America. You see very few of them because of the tariffs.
How about zero?
And when they do come in, they pay a lot of money.
Right, because you have to ship it individually.
The Biden administration is thinking of taking that tax off, and if they take that tax...
No, they are not.
...off, you can wave goodbye to your auto industry and...
First of all, why tax? Why didn't you just say tariff? Wouldn't that be a tariff? What tax? What are you talking about? And the limitation on Chinese cars in the United States is a regulatory one.
You have the worst union leader probably in the history of... maybe in the history of our country for any business. I don't know him. Sean Fain is a disaster. But your industry would be gone very quickly. Under my leadership, we created nearly 500,000 brand new manufacturing jobs, including 30,000 auto manufacturing jobs right away. We saved it and we got it going.
No, you didn't.
And that was nothing compared to what I'm talking about now. Nothing.
Right, yeah, you did nothing. Yeah, we know. You don't have to tell us you did nothing.
Because we had COVID come in that final period, and we had to focus on that share.
Yeah, he was totally going to do it in the final year. That's when you really do it. You wait. You know what I mean? You don't want to, like, really do it fucking right out of the gate. You know, you want to make them wait a little bit, you know?
Of cars sold that would...
Even though he can do it quickly and turn it around quickly and very quickly and everything quickly, apparently it takes at least 3.5 years.
Domestically produced.
If nothing happens. also.
Increased for the first time in many years, it actually, because it was going down, down, down. And since
No, it was not.
I left, wait till you hear those numbers.
Whoa, wow.
The U.S.
You mean the numbers that have gone up?
trade deficit in automobiles dropped by $6.8 billion. Think of that. And I had to do it on the fly. We had to do it fast because you're going to have no industry whatsoever. Whatever you have now, and it's a fraction of what you used to have in the glory days. I call them the glory days.
Do you? Yeah, we know. Almost everything. Back when your dick worked, I understand. Glory days, young girl's eyes.
That was when
that was a Bruce Springsteen song, actually. I don't think it's a good idea to bring it up.
we were the greatest in so many ways. U.S. Steel, look at it. They want to sell U.S. Steel to a foreign country. I'm going to not let that happen.
Neither will Kamala Harris or Biden. They've already blocked it.
I hope the deal doesn't close before then. I will not let that happen.
It's not going to because they're blocking it too.
We need our
I hope they applaud when they hear that the block is already there.
steel. You know, I imposed a tremendous tariff on China and the steel. They were dumping steel all over the country, and our steel
Yeah, you know where they were dumping it? Right into fucking Trump Tower.
mills were going out of business, and I put a 50% tariff on, and that largely stopped it. And I think the people that like me the best are the steel people, because I saved their industry. We wouldn't have one steel plant in this country if I didn't do that. There wouldn't be one. And
Does this asshole know he just continued the Obama steel tariffs?
I had no wars, but other than I finished off ISIS very quickly.
No, you didn't.
But I had no wars.
ISIS-K is actually who blew themselves up and killed our soldiers in Afghanistan.
But whether you have wars or don't have wars, when you have to make army tanks and when you have to make planes and everything else that you have to do is mostly steel. And we don't want to be in a position where we have a problem and we need China to help us out with steel. That could be a serious problem. Do you think they'd mind selling us some steel in the middle of a conflict? But I don't think we'll have a
I don't know. Maybe you should probably call them.
conflict with China. I think we'll get along with China, and I think we'll get along with Russia, and I think we'll get along with Ukraine, and I think we're going to get that one settled. And I think we're not going to have a problem
Settled.
with Israel, like October 7th would never have happened. Russia would have never happened. They would have never gone into Ukraine had I been president.
They were already there. I guess I was supposed to say, oh, hi, how are you? Andrea, excellent. By the way, you're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. I am your host, Hal Sparks.
But under Kamala, we are now in a manufacturing recession with
No, we are not.
manufacturing, contracting in 22. Think of this. It got smaller. In 22 out of the last 23 months, it got smaller. We're losing jobs every single month. We've lost
No, we're not.
nearly 50,000 manufacturing jobs this year alone. Car sales are
How many did we gain? Because you lose them one place, you gain them in another.
down by 38% since I left. The share of domestically produced cars sold has dropped significantly, and the U.S. trade deficit in automobile
Well, technically speaking, the closest thing to a Chinese car we have in the United States is the Tesla Cybertruck. The majority of it is made in Shanghai.
has exploded by nearly $50 billion to an all-time high, the worst they've ever had it. Right now, your car industry is going out of business.
No, it's not.
It's going out of business.
No, it's not.
Nothing to do with me. I stopped that. I stopped Mexico, which is becoming the second China.
Because of the USMCA?
Stopped Mexico from taking your car plants and
Well, then how did they get there?
moving them into Mexico and taking all of that business, making it in Mexico. So we lose all those jobs in Michigan and South Carolina and other places.
Sorry, real quick. So if USMCA was the greatest trade deal ever and it stopped that shit, how did it start up again? Like that, honestly, the Biden administration didn't repeal the USMCA. They're bound by it just like anyone else. So did it just suck?
Places. We have many, Tennessee, we have many places, but I think in terms of this, because it's been so badly treated, this area, this state has been so badly treated.
Oh, he's talking about like Toyota plants and all that other shit in Tennessee and places like that, where they're like, yeah, no, we're good. No, don't fuck around too much. We're good.
By your politicians, your stupid politicians, what they've done to this state is incredible. And it would have been easy to stop, but half of them are paid a lot of money by a lot of a lot of people that don't care about the country. They care about how much money they're going to make.
And one name. Any? Just one name.
Including lobbyists and others.
Well, sure, lobbyists are going to do that, but the lobbyists are actually paid by the industry people that you're talking about. So maybe just one of those people. Who would that be? Who would? What car company owner you're talking about does that? Which, I mean, they're hiring lobbyists, so that's part of the money they're paying, and then they're obviously, but they're doing the bidding of who would that be? Would that be?
Make a lot of money. You ever see the money the lobbyists make? They make a lot. But
is that why you decided to go into lobbying after you left office and took a bunch of classified documents, and you were going to make a bunch of phone calls with Vladimir Putin and then act as a lobbyist for him with the House GOP?
They give a lot of it away. I wonder who they give it to.
Charity, I guess, if they're giving it away.
But we're not going to allow this horror to continue.
So you're going to put rules on lobbying then? Fabulous. Let's hear it.
The 4-year-long nightmare for the American auto worker ends the day I take the oath of office, January 20th. It ends.
He's super excited.
Yeah, a poll just came out today. As I was walking on, they said, sir, you're 4 points up in Michigan. I said, that's all? But they said you're...
By the way, they have to say that to him before he walks on stage, or he's I mean, this is what it's like when they tell him right before he goes on that he's up in the state. If they tell him it's close, he checks the fuck out entirely.
By a poll that... They call it a Democrat poll. It's a poll that would normally be very negative. So if they say 4 points, that means more. But I think we're doing well here, and I think we're doing...
Yeah, it's a Democrat poll. The Democrat poll from Democrats. Yeah, it was done by Democrat people.
Well, all over. We're leading in every single state, every swing state, by actually, in some cases, a lot.
Huge numbers.
Today, I am announcing a detailed plan to save the American auto industry and bring millions and millions of jobs back to our shores very quickly.
Detailed plan. Let's hear it. This is details, people. This is what we've been asking for.
If you vote for Trump, and you will see a mass exodus of manufacturing jobs, but from Mexico to Michigan, from Shanghai to Sterling Heights, and from Beijing to right here in beautiful Detroit. Wait till you see Detroit. And they'll also be going to places like South Carolina, Tennessee, and others. We have a lot of car-making states, a lot of parts-making states, too.
Oh, yeah, a lot of parts-making states. Yeah, it's great. So far the plan is they vote for you, and it just happens.
And our car industry will have a renaissance, the likes of which we have never seen before in this country.
Well, I'm convinced. Oh, I'm sorry, you guys want actual details? What do you... Just, okay. It'll happen quickly, and that's all you need to know.
We have never seen since the golden years.
You mean the glory days?
It's my goal to get our country on an automaking path where at some point in the near future it will be bigger and more important than it ever was. And even in its heyday, many years ago, it was unbelievable. I think we can be bigger and more important because we have some very, very great assets. And this is very personal.
Which would be what?
For me. Personal.
This is very personal. It's a very personal thing, Detroit and the car industry.
One of the reasons is because I've been talking about it for 20 years. I can't believe it happened.
Yeah, it's very personal because I've been talking about it a lot.
That was the when I was honored. That's all I talked about.
When I was honored.
I was watching this happen.
Yeah.
It was at that time Japan. Japan was just taking our cars like we were a bunch of babies.
Excuse me. Babies don't have cars. Also, Japan's rise over Detroit happened in the late 80s, not in the late 90s, early 2000s, when apparently, or sorry, in 2013, when you allegedly got man of the decade.
I always say candy from a baby.
Yeah, we know. And babies keep their candy in their pockets.
That's how easy it was.
No, it's kind of a lot more complicated than that. It took years. A kid would have grown up in the period of time.
Now it's Japan, but it's China, and it's a lot of countries.
Yeah, it's a lot of them. Japan also, which it isn't, but sure. And China, which obviously it also isn't because Chinese cars aren't sold in the United States. And what's the other countries that make cars? I can't even remember.
This was one of the biggest reasons I ran for president in the first place. You know, it was probably the auto industry that was most abused. You were the most abused. There are a lot of industries that are abused. We stopped.
Yeah, so they totally
Stopped it, but now I could put the brakes on. Not only stop, I now know the game a little better. You know, I had never been a politician before. I got to the White House. I said,
oh dear.
Yeah, I've never done this before, but I had to learn, and I had some great people. Bob Lighthizer was great, our trade representative, but we had some people that I didn't like, I wouldn't have picked in retrospect. We had some...
you're not talking about the best people, are you?
Clinkers, but...
Clunkers?
But you have
what
to understand...
Hold on. What's a fucking clinker?
I just got there. I was only in Washington 17 times, and I never stayed over. So,
which is weird. Why would you not stay the night in D.C.? It sounds like you were just coming in to bribe somebody and fuck off.
I wasn't a part of Washington society. It wasn't my thing. I was a New York person, developer, did great. And I knew New York, but I didn't know Washington. So I had to rely on people. Sometimes I'd rely on rhinos.
Yeah, that's not what you told us.
Rhinos, and that's what I'd get. I'd get a rhino. And that wasn't so good. But we had mostly great people, but we had some ones that I would not have again. And we're going to finish the job that we really brilliantly started because we had numbers that the ambassador gave you some of them. I don't want to bore you by going through it, but he gave you some numbers that were unprecedented. I intend for the triumph of the American auto industry to be among my greatest legacies. I want it to be a legacy.
Great. Now, at some point, we're going to get the details of this alleged plan, yes? Because I get that this is the wind-up. This is the sales pitch. But I got to tell you, this is going on for a painfully long time. And all that we're getting from it, it sounds like you're going to sell them a timeshare. Which I, of course, know you aren't, because even a timeshare is a substantial piece of property that actually exists.
I want American companies to not only dominate the American market, but also the foreign markets as well. They buy so many of our cars. It's so horrible. But you know,
They do? It's horrible that they buy so many of our cars? Sorry, real quick. Stupid.
They buy so many of our cars. It's so horrible. But you know, they only buy them if they're made in their countries.
Which is your rule.
China, I don't object. Look, President Xi was and...
Oh, by the way, he means Teslas.
And I would say is a very good friend. We broke up a little bit. You know the way friendships break up? A thing called the China virus broke us up. I think that's understandable, right? Cost the world about $50 trillion and tens of millions of lives all over the world. I think that's a reason. But no, I've always had a very good...
But yeah, that's water under the bridge. That happened a long time ago.
...relationship with him. Very, very strong, smart man.
He's a moron. He can barely read. He's a fucking idiot. The Chinese have a thing where they go like Xi Jinping thought, and they have this like little book club that you're supposed to read these books that he's allegedly read, which he clearly has no idea what the fuck is in them. It's some of the dumbest shit you've ever seen.
He's strong and smart.
He's a moron. He fucked up. His 3 red lines policy almost single-handedly crashed the economy, and Biden was there to just go, oh, are you gonna fuck up your economy? Cool. Bunk. Don't mind if I do. Bunk.
Meaning he wants to take your auto industry, and so does every other leader of a country. They want to take
No, they don't.
your industry, all of our industry, and we're not going to do that.
Really? That's weird. What? But you haven't thought about it?
We won't let them play that game.
Yeah, we won't play.
And it's not even hard, and you'll understand that in a moment.
Yeah, I should. Any fucking day now.
I want German car companies to become American car companies. I want them to build plants in America. Otherwise, I'd rather not have their cars here. Instead of American workers worrying about losing their jobs to foreign nations, I want foreign nations to be worried about losing their jobs to America.
They already are. That's why they have such protectionist stuff on their car industries, because ours is ginormous compared to theirs. The volume of cars they create for their local population could not come anywhere near the number of cars that are sold, made, and used in the United States alone, much less North America, you fucking weirdo. That's exactly what they are doing.
That's going to happen. Going to happen.
It's already happening.
Going to happen.
That's the point. That's why there's protectionism around Mercedes and BMW, because if they opened up the market, there aren't that many people in fucking Germany.
And I hope the Democrats will go along with us, but we'll get it done one way or the other. I hope they're going to go along with us. It's so good.
To what? To do what?
It's like so many things they don't, like voter ID. Why aren't they approving voter?
Hey, fuck what? Blah, blah, blah. This ain't the weave, you motherfucker. You still haven't said how. That's the part of the plan that actually fucking matters.
Voter ID. Democrats don't want voter ID. You know.
Yes, we do. We just want it to be free and federal so that nobody has to pay for it, so there's no poll tax. Fuck you.
Why? Because they want to cheat. But they don't want to. I say, oh, they don't. When I first thought, I thought I was seeing things. I thought I was like, I didn't hear that when I first started this whole that said.
Yes, that's what I say when I think I'm seeing things, is I didn't hear that.
The Democrats will not approve voter ID. And it's only gotten worse. Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, just passed a bill. He signed a bill that you're not even allowed to ask anybody whether or not they have voter ID. Not only
at the polling place
can't you use it, you can't even ask. I think it's a crime or something. I could ask the Secretary of State. No, I think it's a crime. I think it's a crime if you ask somebody, do you have ID, voter ID? Let's lock that guy up.
Yeah, because it's a poll tax. ID costs money. And you can present at the voter registrar, you can present your birth certificate and stuff. If you don't need a photo ID, you show up in person, you sign a piece of paper, and you're there as a human being. You don't need ID because it's you. You're fucking there. You have identification that proves who you are, not just the little card from the fucking DMV. The little card from the DMV, which you're talking about as ID, is not the only kind of ID that exists. It's also not free. Costs money. The regular ID and the driver's license, both you have to pay a fee to get them. Therefore, if that's the only way you can vote, it's a poll tax.
In other words, it's not a crime to vote illegally, but it's a crime.
It's a crime to vote illegally. Just saying. Fuck you and fuck May Musk. It's a crime to vote illegally. Just letting you know. Everybody should know this. Don't vote illegally based on what this dickhead is saying, especially if you're in the state of California. It's illegal. If you don't have the right to vote, don't vote.
To ask whether or not, there's only one reason for that. You know the reason?
Yes, it would be a poll tax and it would be a violation of their constitutional rights.
Cheating. They want to cheat.
No, it'd be a violation of their rights. One of the reasons why Republicans want to cheat, and I can prove it, is that they don't want everyone to have an ID. Why is that? Why do Republicans vote against a national federal ID that everybody gets who's a citizen for free as a citizen, and with it come a lot of legal limitations that if somebody uses it illegally to purchase alcohol when they're underage or vote in your place or whatever, they'll go to jail for a good long while. Why do Republicans vote against that every time? And I don't want to hear this mark of the beast bullshit.
It's only one reason. It's crazy. No country in the world has a policy like that.
A lot of countries have policies just like that.
Mail-in voting is all gone all over the world. All these things that we still
No, they're not.
fight over, they're all gone. So
Sorry, you were telling us your plan to, I don't know, save the fucking auto
we have
industry.
to win a big election, and we're going to straighten it out. But we got to straighten it because you have two things: you have borders, and you have good elections. You
Motherfucker, get on with it.
got to have, and it would be nice to have a free press, which we don't have at all. We have a
Sorry, hold on one second. Somebody was asking, do you know how much they make from selling IDs? They don't sell IDs, Jay Bigness in the chat room. This is the question. Hold on one second. If I may. Do you know how much they make from selling IDs? They don't sell IDs. The cost of getting an ID subsidizes all the costs of actually maintaining an identification system, including the staff that does it and the printing of them and the machines and the updating of it and all that stuff. It's part of the budget. And because no one's guaranteed an ID just by being a citizen, then because it's not guaranteed, you have to pay a fee to get it. It's just like car registration, right? You have to pay for a car registration. Well, part of what you pay for isn't a profit-based thing. It's to pay for car registration, the system that you're part of, right? There's no profit from it per se. In some cases, they'll raise the rates on certain vehicles, for example, in registrations because they're damaging the environment, and they'll take that extra money and they'll use it for climate change mitigation, stuff like that, right? So they'll make up for the damage done by old diesel vehicles or some shit like that, right? But when it comes to ID, like regular IDs, yeah, it's $12 for a regular California ID, and I think $19 or $25 for if you do it online, it's a $45 renewal fee for your driver's license. Both of those cost money. They are not free. They are not profit making, but they use those things, for the payments for those things to subsidize the entire system. That said, it's still a poll tax because if you don't have the ID, you still have the right to vote. If that makes sense. Until the state gives you an ID for fucking free, you cannot be forced to show one to vote because your right supersedes whatever paperwork you have as long as you're a citizen. And if you have other proof, that will do.
A terrible press. But those three things we have, and we have to straighten it out. So here is the deal that I will be offering to the world.
Great.
Companies outside of our world, big
Okay, so aliens, listen up.
companies, powerful companies that
Outside of our world. Okay, so you mean our country, you weird old fart?
have become powerful because we were stupid. We were stupid. We allowed them to come in and raid and rape our country. That's what they did. Oh, he used the word rape. That's
Yes, he did, and he knows that word very well.
right. I used the word. They raped our country. The United States will give you the lowest taxes, the lowest energy costs. We have more liquid gold under our feet than any other country in the world, and it's the best. It's the best. We have the most, and we have the highest quality. We have the lowest regulatory burdens, and they were going to be made low. I cut.
Whoa. What do you mean we have the lowest regulatory burdens? What you're basically saying is you'll tell these foreign countries they'll pay next to no taxes and they won't have any regulations on their environmental damage or something while they're here?
Regulations more than any president in history. In a 4-year term, I cut more than any president by 4 times, they say. 4 times.
Yeah, it kind of matters which ones. You do realize when you cut too many regulations, you have, I don't know, trains full of chemical shit crashing into small Indiana cities.
Let the country do what they have to do. A lot of those regulations have been put back on by Crooked Joe and by Kamala.
Name one. Just one. I mean, you got paper on your desk or whatever. Like, they should have a list. Here's 5. I cut 4 times as many as anybody else. Here's 5 regulations I cut that the Biden administration put back on. Fuck 2. 2. Yeah, 3. Anything. Just 1. Fucking 1. Yeah? Just just one of them. Just a regulation you cut that you're aware of that Biden put back on. Let's hear it.
And it angers me so much because it's so bad. People.
It must be so bad because that's why you can't get it out of your head. It just lives there. That regulation just lives rent free, and it's always on the tip of your tongue. And it is.
We're shaking my hand backstage, sir. We had the best 4 years we've ever had, and now they're dying. They think they're going. So many people are telling me they're going out of business now.
Yeah, those are the people that do business with you. Yeah, we know.
And free access to the best.
Who was it? Roger Stone.
And biggest market on the planet. We're going to give anybody that comes in free access to the best and
free access,
biggest market anywhere on the planet that's here. But we got to keep it that way, because if we keep going like this, we're not going to have the best or biggest market for long.
So you are admitting, though, that we do have the best and biggest market in the world right now. All right, that's progress.
But only if you make your products here in America. In other words, you get all of these assets, but you have to make your product here in America, and you have to hire American workers. And if these companies don't take the deal, we're lowering the taxes way down. Then they'll have to pay a tax or tariff when they send their car or product into the United States.
Yeah, we already do that. What if it's a product that we don't make in the United States?
And we will use the hundreds of billions of dollars in tariff dollars to benefit the American citizens and pay down our debt.
Yeah, the magic money that comes from everywhere, that just like all the money we had in 1870.
In short, a period of time, it's going to be very quick.
In short a period of time? So you're going to short a period of this, you're going to do a short, you mean in a short period of time?
Think of it.
I'm thinking of it, and it still doesn't make sense.
Short period of time, our deficit.
Oh, thank you, Richard.
About $1.8 trillion. I've heard it was $2 trillion. It's never been anywhere close to this, by the way. $2 trillion a year will be reduced to practically nothing, and eventually our country will be making substantially more money over and above cost, and we will start a massive debt reduction and also further tax cuts. In other words, what I'm doing.
Okay, so real quick, this is all part of like a sub scheme that he's been talking about with Elon Musk and fucking Peter Thiel and a bunch of these dipshits, where everything in their world is virtual for the most part. And the idea will be that we're going to get rid of the income tax and replace it with tariffs. And the problem with that is that if you replace everything with tariffs, if you're making everything here, you won't have any tariffs anymore. And if you get rid of the income tax, obviously, or drive it down so low, you'll just grind yourself into nothing. And it's a great way of, again, having a federal government so small you could drown it in a bathtub, which is exactly what Vladimir Putin wants.
Doing is, I took it from almost 40%, your taxes.
No, not their taxes. Your taxes, which you never pay anyways.
I reduced them to 21%, so that small corporations, everybody, even inheritance tax or a death tax, if you have a small business and you want to pass it on to your son and daughter, if you love them. If you don't love them, I would say just don't even bother listening to this part. Is there anybody in the group that does not love their children? Where you want to raise your hand and say, sir, please don't waste our time with this. But
this is such a weird dig. He thinks like this is funny that people laugh along with this when people just laugh uncomfortably at the concept.
On the assumption you want to leave it to your children, then you have no estate tax or death tax. They want to end that immediately. And it really pertained to farms, where a farm could be valuable, but they don't have cash. They have a valuable farm, and they love their farm, and they want to be farmers.
Something about farm. Yeah, we already have protections about that have been put in place during the Obama years that continue. Every time they punt the farm bill, it drops some of the funding for the exchange to make sure that people can do this. This already exists.
Great way of life. People love it. They wouldn't want to do anything else, but they're left the farm, and then they have to pay a tremendous tax, and they borrow the money from the bank, and within 2-3 years, almost, I guess 62% of the time, they say, they end up losing their farm to the banks.
No, they don't.
I got rid of that. No, there's no
he didn't.
Estate or death tax at all for the farmers and small business owners. So they want to end that. This is a big deal.
You ended it, and they want to end it. You want to end not ending it? Of course, there's a state tax still.
But I brought it down from
the only difference is if you're going to pass it on and it's a functioning farm, you have to continue to operate it as a farm.
From almost 40% to 21%, and that makes us very competitive in the world. Don't forget, the world is like states used to be. The world.
No, it's not.
People will take their businesses, and they're loyal to their stockholders. And in many cases, the people that run the big businesses are not American. They couldn't care less for our country. They follow the dollar, or they follow. We better keep them following the dollar, by the way. We're going to keep them following the dollar. That'll be another thing, because we're losing that fast. We are.
No, we're not.
Losing that fast. But we're going to bring it down, and we brought it down to 21. That made us competitive.
Also, real quick, chat room, if I may. And I'm going to do this whole thing, by the way. So if some people can't stand it and they need to move on, I completely understand. Let's see. U.S. dollar index. Let's see. Where's the? Let's see. Yeah, actually, there's like U.S. dollar. I don't want to. Let's see where the CPI is currently. Lori Logan. Euro extended sell off. Okay, so the dollar is at $1.09 right now. Let's see. Dollar index measures the greenback against basket of currencies. Extends rally highest since August 16th, 0.38 higher at 102.88 currently. So the dollar right now is worth $1.02. A dollar, the U.S. dollar, is worth more than $1 still. By the way, that amount over $1, do you notice how close it aligns with inflation? Did you ever notice that? The Saudi Arabians are not attending the BRIC summit. Oh, of course not, because they'll get killed. It's dangerous. Yeah, so just letting you know, this guy right here, that's, if you'll notice, as our inflation goes down, we get closer to just parity on the dollar, $1 for $1, as it were. When the dollar's worth $1.05 or $1.06, then that's the cost of borrowing $1. Have you noticed that? All right, we want it to be close, probably $1.01, maybe $1.02 is fine. This is generally a good area, but that's where it is. That's getting close to the sweet spot. You can often track in this number our interest rate around that. It's one of the measures that they use to decide where we are. And the dollar, we saw it as high as $1.09. That would be your 9% inflation everybody talks about. But the dollar is not worth less at all. As a matter of fact, there aren't enough dollars in circulation. If there were, who pays more for something there's too many of?
Not the best at all, but competitive. Now I'm bringing it down to 15%, but that's totally subject to you building your product, making your product in America.
By the way, that already exists. You get all kinds of subsidies and tax breaks when you build stuff in the United States, shaved off of the corporate tax rate. You get tons of cuts that bring the cost of it down to 15%. And also, or even less in some cases. That's why Trump only pays fucking $795 sometimes.
And I had calls. So we're getting it down to 15. And now you're just about the most competitive, other than certainly for a big country, but you just about the most competitive at 15. That's the beauty. They're going to all move back. They're going to all move back. They're all coming back. And then
what companies left that are coming back? What are you talking about? Did Chrysler move overseas? They're American companies. They make their shit in Mexico and then they bring it in here because they're American companies. They outsource the cost of production so they can sell to the American people and to the rest of the world at a price that they can meet based on that. You know how it's going to come back to the United States? You know how the labor is going to come back? Automation, robots. That's how it's going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years. This is a stupid conversation.
we're going to protect them so they don't get hurt with tariffs on people that aren't building here. And
what the fuck does that mean?
they're going to come in and they're going to build here because they don't want to pay those stiff tariffs. So we will build.
Or they're just not going to sell to the U.S. market and they'll sell to the fucking European market at a cheaper price.
Build this policy.
Also, Trump Bibles are made in China.
And it's called Build It in America plan. It's Build It in America because when...
It's called Build It in America plan. Bam! Bam!
Foreign leaders and CEOs call me up to complain about our tariffs. My answer will be very simple. Build it in America. You don't have any tariffs. Build it right here in Detroit. You don't have any tariffs. Build it in Dearborn or Lansing or Grand Rapids or Flint. You don't.
Yeah, and the cost of whatever the fuck they build goes up inexorably and makes it uncompetitive. And they go, oh, well, then we're kind of fucked. I don't know what to tell you.
Don't have any taxes. You don't have any taxes or tariffs or anything. So Sorry, if you build it here, if you're a foreign company, if you're an American company, you build something here, you pay at least 15%, if not more. But if you're a foreign company and you build something here, you have no taxes, no tariffs, no nothing. We're going to take that. We're going to take that. Remember, we started at 40. Everyone said, you'll never get it down to 30. I got it down to 21. And that caused the biggest renaissance in the history of our country.
No, it did not. It caused the biggest leap in national debt in our country.
The greatest period of success in the history of our country.
Yeah, but only if you don't look at any of the numbers.
We did more revenue at 21% than we did at close to 40%.
No, they didn't.
People were going wild. Businesses were flourishing.
Yeah, they were like... corporations were showing their tits for beads. It was nuts.
All businesses were going through the roof. Big businesses, I was allowing them. They'd have hundreds of billions of dollars. Apple, as an example, they brought in hundreds of billions of dollars. We had restrictive covenants where they couldn't bring money back into our country. Two reasons. The tax was too high. It was so ridiculous. Nobody would do it. You had to pay 50, 60.
Oh, this is the thing they were implementing under Obama, that they just continued negotiating and then finally sealed the deal like in 2017.
% tax, so you bring money. So they said, well, we'll just leave it there and we'll develop in Europe or Asia, wherever the money was. But think of this.
It was in Ireland.
We brought in trillions of dollars because I made it possible. I made the tax rate fair, reasonable.
No, he didn't. He let them write it off and start from scratch.
Like a reasonable person would bring it in for a reasonable tax. And also I made the bureaucracy very easy.
Right. Yeah. Just move it over here and we'll make up the $1 trillion in about 30 years.
They had to hire 4 different law firms to get their money back if they wanted to bring it back. So what I'm proposing very simply then is a 15% made in America corporate tax rate.
Right. And so any company that can't make what they make in the United States, even for like, let's say 5 years, let's say you make a chip and you know, you're using one of the Taiwanese made chips, or you're making something and you have it assembled in another country, or you get another part from someplace else and you can't assemble it here, and you could, but it'll take you 2, 3, maybe 5 years to move your factory over there. What industry in the United States immediately starts benefiting, while the other companies that make shit, car companies, electronics companies, computer companies, and all that other stuff, well, it might take them 3-5 years to reshore their factories and move shit over here and even make that possible. What company immediately benefits from the 15% tax rate automatically? What kind of companies always make stuff in the United States? Why, real estate companies. That's curious that you would bring that up. That's right. It is a specific tax break that immediately benefits him right here. Yeah, the only people making anything like houses and developments and shit like that in the United States is because of the 3 biggest rules of real estate. Location, location, location. That's right. That's why he guarantees himself an instant 15% tax rate, and every other company will be on a 3 to 5 year lag minimum.
Cutting it from 21% all the way down to 15%, but only.
This is a Steve Forbes shit too, by the way. He's been looking for that 15% flat tax, and then they'll just extrapolate that out to everybody is the idea.
For those who make their product in the USA, it's very simple and beautiful. And I was called by a couple of the top people on Wall Street. I sort of know a lot of them.
Sorta?
They said, "Who gave you that idea? It's so simple." I said, it's a great idea. I have another one coming up for you that you're going to like just as much. You're going to love.
Yeah, nobody said, "Hey, where'd you get the idea of a 15% flat tax made in America thing?" Because we all have a bet going that we're fairly certain we know which drunk whispered it into your ear.
Maybe more. Oh, you got a big one coming toward the end. I want to save it for the end. This way you're going to stay around and you're going to be so happy. It's just pins and needles you're sitting, right? No, I have one coming that I think is just...
yes, their ass is falling asleep listening to this, true.
Incredible. But this is something that is going to revolutionize our country.
It will revolutionize. By the way, all these tariffs will add a 20 to 50% tax on goods everywhere else. That shit we're not going to make in the United States. That's the other thing too. Is like, this is every fucking thing. This is foodstuffs. This is furniture. This is IKEA shit. Like all that stuff. And if they can't make the volume of it, it'll be just sold out. And if they need to ship it in from outside the country because they've sold everything they can make here with the factory limitations that they have, or the available workforce that they have, if they run out, then your price goes from like $5 to $30 because he's a fucking lunatic. And especially if it's anything that we don't or wouldn't make here because it's toxic. Might not be toxic when you get it, but the making of it is toxic. That's one of the other reasons why we outsource things or offshore them.
Because it's not only auto companies, it's also others, but I think...
it's everything, which is the dumb part.
In particular, this is going to be something that is going to really lead to the renaissance in Detroit and in our country, but in Detroit. This place will be booming. This place is going to be booming. And
also, by the way, for the record, what he's offering is foreign companies will get better tax breaks to make shit here than American companies get for making shit here. They will have fewer regulations and fewer taxes than American companies do. Especially if those American companies have to source anything overseas, because the parts of what they do will be like, it's fucking stupid.
When you couple that with what I'm going to say in a little while.
Great. All right. Eventually.
It's going to really be booming. So U.S.-based car makers and manufacturers will also be rewarded with expanded research and development tax credits, very substantial, where they will be able to write off 100% of their cost of heavy machinery and other equipment necessary to build a plant. In the first...
that already exists. They already do that.
First year. and full expense.
I love how he like keeps promising shit that's already on the books.
For manufacturing investments and all helping to build these sprawling state-of-the-art plants. Our country needs to be an industrial superpower in the world. I have a friend who makes plants. He builds plants. That's what he does.
He does. Oh yeah, really? And that guy's going to get a special. So basically, that dude's going to be doing great, I guess, right? Because all these companies will hire your buddy who makes plants. It's the business he's in. Weird.
That's better than anybody in the world.
Yeah, and he'll get a little what? He's going to send you a little kickback for pitching this idea.
And I said to him, he's a supporter, actually.
Really? What a shock. So one of your supporters will get like effectively tax-free work from all these companies building these plants for them. Fascinating.
I said to him, I want to see a plant. I want to see a really great auto plant. And where would we go? Let's go see one. And he said, well, we'll have to go to Mexico. I said, what? We have to go to Mexico. I said, I want to see Mexico. I want to see here. He said, well, the big ones are really built in Mexico. They're building some really big ones right now. You know, your stupid union leader.
That's the USMCA, you dumb motherfucker. Why do you think that is? What do you think the USMCA makes room for? It is the US, Mexico, and Canada trade corridor, which allows them tariff-free to have those plants in Mexico and sell them in the United States without any tariffs because they're American cars being made in Mexico. Where the fuck do you think that came from? That's the USMCA. What the fuck? Did you even read the shit before you signed it?
Sean Fain, or whatever the hell his name is. This stupid guy. He's playing around all electric cars, everything else. Did you see your numbers in the last few months? What's happening? You're losing your whole business. They're building the biggest plants in the entire world. This guy builds them. That's what he's good at. If you said build an apartment, he wouldn't want to do it. He couldn't do it, but he can build an auto plant. All the top of the line, all automated. You press a button and the plant opens up.
Yeah, that's how it works. It just unfolds. It's got Acme spray painted on the side of it. The whole thing's run by a fucking coyote.
Biggest in the world.
Jesus Christ, what an asshole.
And you know who's building them? China.
I don't care, because if it's an automated factory where you push a button and the whole thing works, there's no jobs to be had, dum-dum. They're not even stealing the jobs. There's no Mexicans working there either, I guess. What are you talking about? If it's fully automated, how many jobs are they stealing? 9? Jesus.
They're building them at levels that nobody's ever seen before.
Well, yes. I mean, I would argue that futuristic, modern technological advancements in automation are, by their very nature, stuff people have never seen before. That's what makes them cutting edge, as it were. But again, explain to me how we're losing jobs to factories that are completely automated, you weirdo.
Right across the border. And they
again, we need to build those automated factories with no people in them here, you know, for jobs.
They think they're going to make cars there, and they're going to put you all out of business, and they're going to sell them across the border, and they're not going to have a tax. No, they're wrong.
No, that's what the USMCA allows for.
They're going to pay a 100% or maybe even a 200% tariff because we're not going to let them.
No, they're not. That would be a violation of the USMCA.
Come in to our country and destroy what's left of our auto industry, because it's a failing industry, just like it's a failing country right now. We're a failing country. You know, we're a nation in decline. I hope.
No, we're not.
Hope you know that.
What, you hope we know that? Hey, asshole, if we were, we'd know it.
Doesn't make me feel good to say it, but we're not going to be a nation in decline for very long.
Well, that's true. As soon as you're gone, people will go, oh, maybe the Republican Party's looking up. Maybe they want to start acting like adults again or something. There'll be some leftover crazies, obviously stragglers around there, but no.
Perhaps the most important element of my plan to make America extraordinarily wealthy again has to do.
We are extraordinarily wealthy as a country. Just saying. There's certainly a distribution of wealth issue, I would guess, but.
With reciprocity. It's a word that's very important in my.
It is. Yeah. Reciprocity.
Plan.
Totally.
Because, we generally don't charge tariffs. I started that process. It was so great.
Right. Because we want cheap goods for our people, especially if we don't make them here or they're from Europe or wherever.
Right, with the vans and the small trucks, et cetera, I told you about. But we really don't charge. I mean, China will charge us a 200% tariff. Brazil is a big charger. The biggest charger of all is India. India is a very big charger.
They're a big charger, are they? They're, but interestingly enough, they don't take the Dodge Charger, and I think that's rude. Yeah. This is so stupid.
We have a great relationship with India. I did.
Totally.
With especially the leader, Modi. He's a great leader. Great man. Really is a great man. He's brought it together. He's done a great job. But they probably charge as much. I mean, I think they probably charge more than, in many ways, China. But they do it with a smile.
Because we trade more with them now.
They do it sort of a nicer charge. They say, oh, thank you so much for purchasing from India. Harley Davidson came to the White House a long time ago during.
He did? And you got to meet Harley Davidson?
My third year.
Did you meet his grandson, Ed Harley?
Second year. And I met with them. And they were based, I guess, in Wisconsin. And I said, how's business? Good, good. What are the bad countries? Well, India is very tough. And they gave me some others. Why? Tariffs. I said, why, what are they? And they had said like 150%, some massive amount. I said, so do you sell many motorcycles? And because you'd think people want to buy a Harley, right? Anyway.
No.
No, we sell very few in India, but.
Right. I can't imagine why a country of 1 billion people, which has massive poverty, tiny little roads, and most people who ride two-wheelers are on fucking mopeds.
They want us to go there. They said, if you go there and build your plant there, we're not going to charge you anything. I mean, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, that's what they said. That sounds like Modi.
I said, I don't like that. And lo and behold, I see they went and they built the plant, and now they do their business with India. They probably do it outside of India, too. Plenty. They built a very big plant. Many countries, they do that. And then all of a sudden you hear that they're leaving Milwaukee or they're leaving wherever they may be located.
Yeah, I don't know where. Who knows?
It's very sad to see it.
Yeah, it's like probably Milwaukee, maybe Madison. Yeah, Economawalk, I think, is where they were headquartered. It's just Harley Davidson. You were just president of the United States. How would you know?
And it's so simple. I mean,
Yeah, it's so simple. I don't know why these fuckers are so stupid.
This isn't like Elon with his rocket ships that land within 12 inches on the moon where they wanted to land.
Yeah, they don't do that.
Or he gets the engines back. That was the first I realized. I said, who the hell did that? I saw engines about 3-4 years ago. These things were coming, cylinders, no wings, no nothing. And they're coming down very slowly, landing on a raft in the middle of the ocean someplace with a.
Yeah, there's a reason why they did that on a raft in the middle of the ocean, because a lot of times they didn't work.
Circle, boom. Reminded me of the Biden circles that he used to have, right? He'd have 8 circles and he couldn't fill them up.
You mean for the press? At the press events during COVID?
But then I heard he beat us with the popular vote. I don't know. Couldn't fill up the 8 circles. I always loved those circles. They were so beautiful. There was
what? Wait a minute. You think those were for audience, you weirdo?
So beautiful to look at. In fact, the person that did them, that was the best thing about the level of that circle was great. But they couldn't.
You mean the quality of the circle? Like how well they were painted on the ground?
Get people, so they used to have the press.
No, those were for the press. That was so they could have a press conference during COVID.
Stand in those circles because they couldn't
Yeah, that's what they were for.
get the people.
All right. Again, nobody thinks this but him.
And I heard we lost. Oh, we lost. No, we're never going to let that happen again. But we've
You lost. You lost, and you're going to lose again.
been abused by other countries. We've been abused by our own politicians, really more than other countries. I can't blame them. We've been abused by people that represent us in this country. Some of them stupid, some of them naive, and some of them crooked, frankly. But interestingly, it's often those allies that we consider to be friends that have been the greatest abusers. We have some great abusers. I'll give you an example. The European Union. Sounds so nice. The European Union of countries. Oh, it's so nice. They're brutal. We have a $200 billion deficit with them, now higher than that, 250 something.
Yeah, we buy more shit from those countries than they buy from us. What, Murph? What do you think? What are you doing? You sure? Murph just came in here for some reason. He's like, dude, what's going on? What are you doing? What are you doing, Murph? You don't know? If I try and go get him, he'll run away. Should I try and go get him anyways? Should I try and get him? It's going to be hard. He's kind of a pain in the ass. Let me see. What is it, Murphy? Murph, what are you doing? What's happening? It is? Are you okay? Did you get what you need? Is there a problem? Did you, Murphy? What's going on? What is it? Where are you going? Don't run away. Where are you going, buddy? What's happening? What's happening? Where you go? Where you go? He's like, everybody's like, he wants to grab us and take us to jail. They know. That's right. They're going to unionize. Okay, Murphy begged out, but Chipper was there, and he's too big and fat, and he couldn't run away. Hi, buddy. That's my boy. That's my Chipper. That's a boy. That's my boy. How's my boy doing? How's my Chipper? What's a Chipper doing? What's a Chipper doing? Are you okay? You having okay, buddy? You okay, buddy? You okay, buddy? That's your buddy. There he goes. Need scratches. It's Chip. This is, ladies and gentlemen, this is Chip. Chip was your buddy. Chip was your buddy. He's the big boy. Chip was your big boy. Yes, you are. He's the big boy. Okay. You can go now. You can hop down. You're not leaving, are you? Do I have cat hair all over me? I do. Do you want a snack? Is that what's up? I'm still doing the show. I got a lot of show left. So you can stick around if you want to. I got lots of show left. He's a chunk. He is a chunk. All right, here we go. Back to where we were.
And like I asked at the time, Angela, how many Chevrolets do we have in the middle of Berlin? Oh, I do not know. Perhaps none. You're right, Angela. You're right. How about Frankfurt? How many do we have? How many Fords do we have in Frankfurt? Oh, I don't think any. And yet they send
Yeah, that's not what she said.
their cars to us.
No, we buy their cars.
Like a bunch of dummies we are.
Yeah, anybody who drives a Mercedes or a BMW or, you know, obviously a bunch of dummies. In Trump's world, and I hope he says this to all the guys who drive BMWs and Mercedes that he knows, they're a bunch of dummies. Tell him, you tell him, buddy.
BMW, Mercedes, Volkswagen, by the millions and millions and millions. And we're not doing that. We're not doing that crap anymore, okay? Now they're going to have to play by our rules. They're going to have to play by our rules.
Okay. They already do. That's why those cars are more expensive. And there's already Volkswagen plants in the United States.
But China, of course, was the biggest abuser. I mean, they were a professional abuser.
A professional abuser. Okay, yeah. Explain to us how they took a bunch of jobs that Americans would do. Explain to me.
They did things to us, and they go down as a developing nation. We are a developing nation. Well, we're a developing nation, too. Just take a look at Detroit. Detroit's a developing area.
It's city. You couldn't manage to say city.
A lot more than most places in China. So we're not going to let this happen any longer, and I don't think it'll be possible for bad politicians to stop it. I don't think so, because we've suffered too long and too hard.
Sorry, if the USMCA couldn't do shit, or as a matter of fact was designed to create the problem you're bitching about, then how are you going to change anything later? Is there going to be, do we have to fix the USMCA? Is the USMCA that fucking bad?
And I fixed much of it during my 4 years, but felt that, during the COVID period, it would not be the right time to be doing this with countries. I renegotiated with Japan.
You mean when supply chains were crashing, that you didn't think it would be a good time to start overcharging and tariffing people sending stuff into the country like, I don't know, PPE?
Negotiated with South Korea, renegotiated with many. But, you know, with the COVID, everybody was just literally devastated by that scourge. It was devastating.
Motherfucker, he did it again. Scourge. Says and scourge. Jesus.
It was not the right time. So I had to slow it up a little bit. I was hitting them really hard. Shinzo Abe was great. He was assassinated.
Yeah, we know.
What a great man he was. But I went to Shinzo. I said, Shinzo, I got to know him very well. He was really a friend of mine. He was a great, great man, actually. Loved by the Japanese people. He got sick. He had to take a leave of absence for a period of time, but he was going back, and he would have gone back and easily gone back. And he was just getting ready to do it. He was much better.
Yeah, cool story, bro. There was no change in our trade with Japan as far as cars. We've already been making Toyotas and Hondas in the United States forever. You're very weird. What are you getting at?
I think he was probably cured of what he had, and he was going back. But I said to him, Shinzo, we have to talk about trade. I'm sorry to bring it up. I'm sorry. This is the most one-sided deal I've ever seen.
Sorry. You brought this up when he was sick and on leave and no longer the leader of Japan because he was going to come back? Did you call the wrong guy?
You send millions of cars to us and we can't send you a car. They didn't accept any of our cars. You send all of your farm products to us and you don't want to accept our farm products.
Sorry, what farm products are we going to be sending them? What, farm-raised tuna? What are you talking about? Rice? They got that covered. They're not that big, dummy. That's the reason. You know how Trump talks about steel? And he says, well, if we let our steel industry go and we got into a war, do you think China would want to help us in a war to replenish the steel so we could build tanks and battleships? Probably not. Well, apply that to every fucking business in every foreign country in the entire goddamn world. If we swamp the rice industry or any staple in the Japanese diet for a while to the point where it undermines the internal, farms and growers and distributors that are there, what happens if we go away or we stop? Exactly. Same reason, stupid.
I'm sorry, Shinzo. We're going to have to negotiate.
What doing, buddy? Hold on. What are you doing? What are you walking around doing on a foot? What are you doing? 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 That's a boy. He's actually a panda disguised as a cat. I'm just saying. What are you doing?
What's the door, buddy?
Okay. I'm going to put you outside the door so you don't walk around underfoot. Hub up. Okay. And snacks in a minute. I go to Kansas City tomorrow, and he knows it.
Shared something. He looked at me, he goes, I know. I said, what do you know? He said, well, I know that you were going to be coming back to me, and I know that it hasn't been fair. I said, well, how did it happen? He said, well, we'd ask for things, and the Americans would agree to it.
Okay, this is bullshit. This never fucking happened. And one of the reasons why they would ask for things is because the Japanese economy fucking collapsed in the late 80s. And they were in deep shit. And they were an ally. And of course we were there to support them. That's why China's in such dire straits and their economy is bullshit and barely hanging on. Because they don't have any fucking friends in the world.
Your representatives, your presidents, Republicans too, by the way. I'm not talking just Democrats. He said we were friends. He would say this. I probably wouldn't say it if he were around because it's not very nice, but he told the truth. I said, how did you get these deals? He said, we would ask and they would approve.
Yeah, that's not at all what happened. This is just apocryphal horse shit. And again, this might even be normal conversations. Like, how'd you get these deals? What do you mean? We made these deals. We asked for things and you asked for things and we agreed and you agreed. That's how any deal is made.
And we were amazed ourselves, but I knew you'd be coming to see me. And I said, I have to see you, Shinzo. And we made a new deal with Japan, but we were stuck with an old one, so I couldn't negotiate as good as I normally would, but we made it palatable, and we were going.
It's just bullshit. Like, just talking out his ass.
To really make it palatable when this one came up. But he was great. But he looked at me, I'll never forget it, quite. He said, he called me Donald. Donald, I knew that you would be coming back.
Jesus Christ, like some scene from dipshit Godfather. I knew you would, this day would come. And you would come to me and you would ask again for a favor that I would give you. Shut the fuck up.
Because I knew that you understood it. But he also said that other people didn't. It was, actually it was quite sad, actually.
Actually.
And it's that way. I would look at these deals and say, who negotiated these deals? They were so bad. It's amazing that we even exist, but we have 36 trillion in debt. We do have 36 trillion. We can't forget that. So it's not.
Yeah, a third of it because of you, asshole.
Like, oh, gee, that's been, we've been a little bit unlucky or something. No, we've been just, for years and years and years, we've been accumulating. We'd have these deficits that are monstrous. We had 5, 6, 7, 800 billion deficit with China.
No, we didn't. Our deficit's like 350 billion. And it's because of drop shipping. It's because of Americans buying Chinese products, slapping their name on it, and sell it in the rest of the world into the American people. It's wholesale, you dumb motherfucker. Everybody has a trade deficit with their wholesale supplier. You always sell, you always buy more from your wholesaler than you sell to your wholesaler. That's how it works.
Just alone with China. And today it was announced we have the highest deficit we've ever had, almost $2 trillion. Think of that.
Because of you and because of COVID, which was your fault.
We have and we have the highest deficit we've ever had with China.
Nope. And he doesn't know the difference.
And that won't.
We don't. We literally don't.
Last long. It's not going to last long. We'll be able to do something about it. Because China wants to do business with us, but they think we're stupid. They think we're stupid people. And then they see our president.
They think you're stupid, literally. The Chinese people, and certainly Xi Jinping, think he's a moron. She's a moron, for sure. Xi Jinping is a moron. And so is Trump. That's why they get along. But the people around Xi Jinping who aren't stupid, per se, the ones that are still alive, that he hasn't killed yet, those folks aren't dumb, and they think Trump's a moron, and they're right.
President, and then they see a person that is representing the Democrat Party and got no votes and was the first one out. She was the first one out. Think of it. She was the first one out. She never made it to Iowa. 22 people.
Yeah, she chose not to fight against the front runner, and she joined the ticket. It was brilliant.
People running, and she was the first one to quit, and now she's running. And
yeah, she was part of the ticket that won by the widest margin in decades, and of course the most votes ever by a president and vice president in history. So we're cool.
It's all right, but nobody's ever had to run against two people before. First,
you're not running against two people. You're running against one.
I had to run against him. Then we had the debate, and his numbers weren't good, and he, looked like he was going to lose. So they said, "You're going to lose," and we want.
Is he going to use the fighter analogy?
You out, and eventually he agreed to go out. He didn't want to. He's a very angry man, by the way.
Well, everything's projection with Trump, remember?
And he hates her. And
which is such a weird thing. Like, not by any measure. And again, Trump hates her. And again, it's all projection.
Then it was a question.
But not even, he also, I feel like he's got a bit of a crush on her. Like he really does react to her in a way that, like, she's a woman who scorned him. That she's attractive and she's not interested and she thinks he's gross and she talks back to him, which no woman should ever be allowed to do.
They have a person in the state who some people talked about. They had a lot of people.
Gretchen Whitmer.
But they had about 12 people. And they put her in. 12 people plus her. She was number 13. She was rated number 13, too. They had 12.
No, she wasn't.
People that they wanted more, but they didn't want to be politically incorrect.
That means because she's black.
And they chose her, and we're running against her.
They didn't want to be politically incorrect and replace the woman of color with someone who's white. That's what he's saying. Yeah.
But if she gets in, it'll be a disaster for this country. Basically, if a country or any country is charging us tariffs, very important, reciprocal.
He's finally working his way back to the teleprompter.
They're charging us tariffs for a certain product or tariffs at all, if they're charging us tariffs at all, which...
Yeah, tariffs on anything, even shit we don't make and sell.
Almost all of them do.
They just imaginary tariffs.
Then we will likewise charge them tariffs.
High five, eggs.
And we will quickly reciprocate. In other words, we have countries that are charging us 150% tariff, and we charge them 2%.
Right, because on a monetary level, their buyer versus our buyer, that evens it out. That means that people can judge whether they like this brand of cheese more than that brand of cheese, whether they like the brie made in Wisconsin or the brie made in France. But if our dairy industry is so much fucking bigger than even France's that we would swamp theirs and put it out of business, so they've got to even it out. So they need 150 to get to the price level of brie cost in France. And we only need to raise it 2% to match out how much it costs here for the dollar versus the euro in that case.
And I actually went to a politician, a senator from the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. You'll figure out, because he wasn't able to run because I wouldn't endorse him, because I called him the anti-tariff person. I thought he was not a bright person. And he was...
Who?
One of the few that said, no, we cannot charge tariffs. I said, but they're charging us 150%. So can we charge them 100%? Sir, no, we can't. Why? It's not free trade. I said, really not free trade? Well, what about them? No, sir.
Who the fuck is he? Is he talking about Dr. Oz?
Not free trade. Can we charge them 50? They're charging us 150. Can we charge them 50? He goes, no, sir, it's not free trade. I said, you're either the dumbest human being I've ever met, or you're a crook.
Also, I gotta say, this sounds like another bullshit story. Like, I honest to God, I don't doubt he had conversations with somebody running for Senate in... It wasn't Federer, of course not. It wasn't a Democrat. It was about a Republican that he didn't endorse or whatever. But the point is, I don't doubt that he had conversations with multiple people about about how tariffs work and the like, and I think he might be slapping all these together. But it sounds more like he didn't understand what the other person was saying, and that it wouldn't fucking work. Like he just did not comprehend what the other person was saying. Like, you're an idiot. Like, you're not listening to me. You know,
one or the other, and he's no longer a senator. He decided not to run. But I think it was a disgrace. I had a lot of problems with him.
Great. And now there's a Democrat in the seat. Is that the point you're trying to make? Congratulations. Well done.
But basically, one of two things will happen. Mm-hmm. They're going to call us, or I will call them and say, look, we can continue to play this game, or we can save a lot of energy and pain and bookkeeping, and we'll just all drop the tariffs. Right? We'll just all drop the tariffs. Or we can get paid royally every time a shipment of their goods comes to our shores, and we'll make a lot of money one way.
And everybody who wants to buy that stuff will pay through the fucking nose.
The other
right?
we win.
But no. One way, we get taxed out the ass on stuff coming in because we charge a very small tariff, because as Americans, we're able to buy all this shit. We're able to add this to our lives. We have all the access to this stuff where they do not.
But it's reciprocity will probably, I think for the most part, they're going to drop the tariffs. Right now, they're not going to drop them. We have countries that are charging us 100%, 150%.
On what? Fucking goat milk?
Think of it. And we charge them nothing. It's been...
Right. Because we want that shit, and we don't want to make that shit.
It's been a...
Yeah, by the way, has he said fucking, but you know, like obviously he's in Detroit, so he's talking about cars and whether or not fucking Germany buys American cars or whatever. Ongoing issue for a long time. But any other products at all? Has he ever fucking named any of these things? Like, for example, butter, you know what I mean? Like... Fucking Toblerones. What's this shit about?
Pillaging of our country. It's
Does he thinks the trade deficit and the government's debt and the deficit that we run in government is the same thing.
Been a terrible, terrible thing. This has been going on for a long time. I started changing it a lot fast.
No, he didn't.
I changed.
It's almost a 2-hour talk. I'm sorry. We'll get through the first hour and then we're at 55 minutes.
A lot of countries don't like me. You know, I get always bad publicity. This one doesn't like me. Germany doesn't like me. A lot of countries don't like me. They say.
That's not fair. You're beloved by the leaders of countries that kill their own people or chuck them out of windows or starve them to death. The leaders of democracies where the people have a say don't like you very much. But, I mean, give yourself cut yourself some slack. The fucking mullahs love you. Kim Jong-un loves you. Xi Jinping loves you. Putin loves you, right? Or at least he says he does right before he comes. But the point is...
Who do you like better? Sleepy Joe Biden or Trump? Oh, I like Biden better. Yeah, because he let them do what they're doing. He doesn't have a clue, the guy.
He didn't let them do what they were doing? So he's accidentally great?
He goes to sleep at 4 o'clock every damn day. He doesn't have...
Well, if you put your work in early and you don't do executive time till 11 a.m.
A clue. And he's destroying, they're destroying our country. You see, that's the real threat to democracy.
It totally is, yeah.
People. That's the threat. Our biggest threat to democracy is stupid people.
This is, by the way, this is a throwback to his old 2016 shit. And the same people like the same conversation. Look at this guy. That is a happy dude. That is a man whose internal polls are telling him he's way ahead in all the swing states. Look at his face. You can tell.
But there's a third thing that can happen, and that's the fact that if they want to avoid this payment, and this is the best thing of all, they can come in and build a plant or a factory in the United States and spend all of their money and build, and I don't care what country it is, and they're going to hire American workers, and they're going to have a factory in the United States. And then you don't have to pay a tariff. And won't it be beautiful? We'll have job numbers like you've never had before. And that's actually, to me, the best of the three things. So it's a very...
Also, again, what the ever-loving fuck does he think we're going to do making everything in the world that we want to purchase in the United States? So, like, what's the threshold, you big fucking commie? What's the threshold for, like, the protectionism? Because this is what he's basically saying is the same thing China does. He wants to do the same thing Xi Jinping does. He wants to create this cloche around the whole fucking country.
Very simple thing to understand. And they've been doing it for years. But
right. He thinks that's what they do. So he just wants to do that as well because he thinks they're doing well. They're not. Their economies fucking suck for this very reason. And one of the reasons why they crank up the fucking tariffs on particular items in their countries is because they're crucial to the country, like fucking champagne and brie and caviar and shit like that in France, or one particular car in one particular country, right? Or something that they make that, like, fuck, if that falls apart, we have no jobs. They crank that up because they're known for that one thing. And and we make enough of it that if we just sold it to them, we put their main companies out of business. They know this.
They do it very quietly, and they do it intelligently, and a lot of
right, which is why you're confused.
People don't see what they're doing. As an example, you want to sell cars in China, they tell you, build your plant in China. If you don't build the plant in China, we're going to charge you a tariff that, you're never going to pay it.
And Elon Musk built his largest EV factory in China. And what happened? They stole all of his technology, built 3 other government-run companies that use basically the same shit in the Tesla plants. They co-own the infrastructure of the plant itself. Yeah. And then they just copy it. And again, I'm not going to feel bad for fucking Elon Musk, but fuck them.
So a lot of people go over to China and they build their plant. The only question...
No, they assemble things there.
I have is, where do we stop with reciprocity? Because frankly...
What? This was your idea.
We have much more to offer. And they've been screwing us for so many years that we're allowed to get some of that back.
Oh, I see. So this won't be reciprocal. This will be vengeance.
So I say, do we want to stop on an even basis? We won't do this, we won't do that? Or do we want to stop on a basis, you don't do it to us, but we're going to still do it to you a little bit?
Yeah, that'll work out.
And that's where I am, I think. And in a way, they owe it to us. In a way, they owe it to us, because they've been taking advantage of us for decades.
Good Lord. As far as the business proposal, which would require Congress's approval as part of the broader array of tax cuts the former president would seek next year, aims to make it easier to buy a car and stimulate the auto manufacturers. It's like the paperclip Trump used, claiming he'd spoken to a person who worked in the auto industry who was dumbstruck by the proposal. Somebody comes up with the paperclip and everybody asks, why the hell didn't I think of that? Oh, Alyosha, you think he thinks his tariff plan idea is like the paperclip. It's that clear.
And in a way, and it's injured us. We're injured. We're an injured country from trade. And,
thanks, USMCA.
NATO, when I got there.
Oh, fuck you.
28 countries they had at the time, and only 7 were paid. The rest of them weren't paying, or they were paying a smaller amount than they were supposed to pay, including Germany, by the way.
Also, they don't pay. They're supposed to contribute a certain amount of their GDP to doing it. A lot of them were still recovering from 2008.
Germany wasn't paying, can you believe? Because they said, we're stupid. We're going to take care of them anyway. Why should they pay? A lot of the countries felt that way. And I made them pay. I said, you got to pay. And one person at a very closed meeting, press knew about it a little bit, but they never reported it because it was a good thing, not a bad thing.
It was gross.
So naturally, you don't hear about it.
Because Trump thinks it's a protection racket, not an alliance.
but it was at a meeting, and he stood up, the head of a country, of one of the countries. He said, so does that mean that if we don't pay, you will not protect us from Russia? It used to be the Soviet Union, now it's Russia. Sort of the same thing. I said, that's what it means. You will not protect us? I said, are you delinquent? Yes. Let's say we're delinquent. I will not protect you under any form. You will not be protected. And the following day, we took in billions and billions of dollars. The money came in.
No, we didn't take in any of it. The money doesn't come to us. It never did. It never does. NATO's not a fucking bank account that we get to crack into, you fucking weirdo. It never, like, this is so, I mean, it's dumb anyways, but it makes no fucking sense, right? And somebody just said in the chat room, Putin told him to do that. You're abso-fucking-lutely right. Who said there? Ikabadir, there you go. Yes, Putin told Trump to do that because Putin thought, like he thought he could win in Ukraine in a couple of days, that if Trump did this to NATO, it would break it up. And instead, they just went, oh, fuck, something's coming. This dude's like constantly like sucker fishing his mouth to Putin's butthole, and we better cover our flank. And so they dumped money in to start to their military buildup. But it had nothing to fucking do with, there's not like a NATO account we draw from. It's so weird. And even the way he talks about it points to the fact that he has no fucking idea. And when basically Putin wants him to dismantle NATO. And the point is just like, no, I won't honor Article 5 if everybody here isn't contributing 2% of their GDP to, you know, and what ended up happening was everybody went onto a war footing almost immediately.
And Stoltenberg, the Secretary General, a good man, he said it was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Obama would come and make a speech and leave. Bush would come and make a speech and leave. Trump would come and look at the statement and say, man, because we were almost paying for all of NATO. So we were getting.
Also, it's more expensive, our part of NATO, because when we send our troops over, they're farther away.
Screwed on NATO and screwed on trade. A double. Nobody else would have done. This is crazy. So we're protecting you, and you're taking advantage of us on trade.
No, they're not. Seriously. Fuck are you talking about? Again, one of the reasons why we outsourced some of our auto plants was to sell in Europe. You're talking to me about the reason he keeps bringing up Germany is because Germany has a big car industry. Like the rest of Europe doesn't. So they buy American cars. They buy Japanese cars, they buy German cars, and they buy American cars. The reason he brings up Germany all the time is because Germany is so auto-centric, and so they have higher tariffs. The rest of the EU doesn't.
Said, sorry, we're not going to take it anymore. But the money came. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars in NATO.
We didn't take in hundreds of billions of dollars. NATO is not a bank account. It's just, and the fact that he even thinks in these terms shows he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Hundreds of billions. And by the way, they should be paying 3 to 4%, not 2%, okay? They're 2%.
3 to 4% of what? What do you even think it is? Their military budget, their GDP? What do you think the 3 to 4% is?
It should be much higher than that, but that's up.
Because 3 and 4 are higher than 2?
For whoever is going to be a next president, I think Kamala, it's not going to be high on her list. I don't think anything that we're talking about today is high on her list. The whole.
Right. Yeah. Sure. She's going to blow it off or whatever. Go golfing.
The whole country is going to be like. You want to know the truth? It'll be like Detroit. Our whole country will end up being like Detroit if she's your president. You're going to have a mess on your hands. She destroyed San Francisco.
Jesus Christ. He's in Detroit.
She destroyed, along with Newsom, California. And we're not going to let her do that to this.
Usually he gets a better response from Newsom, but I think it's the fact that he just like shit on Detroit in Detroit. Two people who live in Detroit might have muted the response.
We're not going to let it happen. So we are the piggy bank that everyone wants, that someday we will continue along the path. We've been, really, it's been an amazing path. It's been a horrible period of time, but
that we've been the piggy bank that everybody is along the path, been a horrible period of time?
almost the last 4 years, we will be, I will tell you that if I get elected, we will be a piggy bank stronger than ever before, but we will be a fool no longer.
Yeah, we'll be a fool no longer, but we'll be a piggy bank that's bigger than ever.
We are going to be a country no more. I actually think it will not, it will be a country no more. We will, if you get her, lose our wealth, we're going to lose our power, and we'll also lose our reserve currency status, which will be like really losing a war. If we lose that, it'll be horrible, but we're losing it right now. You're losing your reserve currency, the dollar.
No, we're not.
The dollar.
This asshole's been watching some the same. I'd say he's been receiving the same Kremlin talking points that Jimmy Dore gets.
So many countries aren't participating. Look, China wants to take that over.
Yeah, good luck. Okay, cool. Have a good time. See you in your senior year. Sorry. Yeah, cool.
It's one of the many things that they want to take over.
Do they? They want the yuan as the world reserve currency? Sure. Yeah, go for it. Please, any country that thinks that's a good idea, step right the fuck up. Now, don't let the fact that literally the CCP has people who can decide what it's worth every morning just because of a whim. It's not based on any, macroeconomic or regular economic data. It's not based on the quality of debt or any of that stuff. It's just whatever they say it is today because they wanna.
We can deal with China, We can deal with China, and we can deal with Russia, and we can deal with North Korea. Obama at our meeting prior to...
Fucking why? Why? First of all, okay, Russia's entire economy, even with their oil industry the way it was smaller than Italy. Why the fuck do we care? Why the fuck are we kissing their ass? Why would we not pay more attention to Italy? They're an ally. They're culturally more aligned with us. There's millions of Americans who are Catholic who go there all the time. It's a great place to travel to. It's got fascinating history. It's fucking fantastic. And it's got a bigger economy than Russia does. So why the fuck should we care? And North Korea, Jesus Christ, if you remove the slave labor, has a smaller economy than Orange County, California.
Taking over, when I took over, it's this ritual at a meeting, and he said the biggest...
Oh, and by the way, China's economy is not the second biggest in the world. It's close to Japan's and might even be smaller. Just saying.
The biggest problem is North Korea.
Probably about 5 to 6 trillion GDP. Nowhere near 18. That's bullshit. Apocryphal nonsense. Never was. Always a story. Just horseshit.
Yeah. And very quickly, it was nasty for a while. Little rocket man, a lot of insults. Remember when he said, I have a red button on my desk? I said, I have one too, but mine's bigger and mine works. Remember that? He said that. And a lot of people were saying, this is getting to be very heated. And then he called and he wanted to meet, and we met, and I got along great with him. I hate to say it because the press goes crazy when you say that, but that's a good thing. It's a good thing, not a bad thing.
Why? All he did was suck up to you and bought him some time. He never stopped producing nukes. He never stopped testing them. The only thing he didn't do was test fire missiles for a while, and then he started it up again. And that partly was because they didn't have one that fucking worked. They still don't, thank God.
A lot of nuclear weapons, but we got along very well. You had no...
Yeah, more nuclear weapons after you left office than he had when you went in. Just saying. It was awesome.
Problem. Nobody was threatened after that. Got along. They're threatened now. You could very well end up in World War III right now. You're very close to it. You're closer than ever. This is the closest we've ever come to World War III. You are...
No, it isn't.
So close to it because you have incompetent people in the White House.
Sorry, you do realize we had you and George W. Bush as president during the last, yeah.
So that would reduce us, if we lose the dollar, that would reduce us to third world status very quickly. But again, I would come into play, and tariffs would come into play, and I'd call those countries that want to stay away, but they do business. They come in and they take our money and they take our jobs like just so easily.
Does it say, like, act like a toddler trying to be tough in the teleprompter? Is that what it says? Is that what just went by? I gotta get you, because he's reacting towards foreign countries like, I guess, like he does when there's a fly or a mosquito. Like, I don't like flies.
And I would
it's like Phil Hartman's Frankenstein.
Call them and I say, if a country, let's say, ready to go to China with their currency or someplace else, but China is about 99% of the problem, in all fairness.
No, it is not. No, it is not. Hold on. Fuck you. That's why they're having to come up with this secondary BRICS currency, they think, because nobody wants the yuan. Russia is stuck with piles of the shit and they can't move it. The rupee, the Indian rupee, is stronger as a currency than yuan is. Does this motherfucker pay attention to anything?
I would say to them, if you do that, I'm going to hit you with tariffs like you've never seen before, or I'm going to not let you trade with the United States, and I'm going to also hit you with tariffs. Double whammy if you get anything through, but you're not, because we're not going to do any business with you.
So they'll do all their business with China in yuan, and China will be more than happy to do it, I guess, and deficit spend for a long time just to destroy the country during the 4 years you're in the presidency, because any country could wait out a plan that long and just wreck everything.
And they will then call us and they will say, sir, we have decided that we love the dollar very much and we're going to stay. That's what they will say every single time. So, you know, tariffs are a very important thing.
No, they won't.
They need a PR agent to straighten out that word. If I was Mr. Tariff, I would say, please get me a PR agent. I have to straighten out. It's one of the most...
If you were Mr. Tariff.
Most beautiful words in the whole world. It's going to make us wealthy again. The other word is reciprocity. Is going to make us wealthy again. We're going to be a very wealthy country.
We are a wealthy country.
Very quickly.
We're the wealthiest country on the fucking planet. Period. We are, by every fucking measure.
Very, very quickly. You know, our greatest wealth probably proportionately was in the 1880s and 90s and the early...
Yeah, totally. Yeah, especially for, that was a good era for workers especially. Wouldn't you say? Wouldn't you say that jobs in the 1800s, the late 1800s, were probably, if you were going to work in a factory or a field, that was the sweet spot, you know? Yeah, bennies, out the ass, good wages, safe houses, lots of goods to buy, a Target on every corner.
Early 1900s, where we had so much cash, they would set up committees. They didn't know what to do with their wealth. We had such wealth in
Oh, they figured out what to do with it. They're called robber barons, dum-dum.
This country. They didn't know what to do with their wealth. They had no, they would set up.
Well, apparently, I have a couple of ideas. Maybe dental work, perhaps medicine, schools.
We had so much money, all from tariffs. There was no income tax. And then they went to the income tax stuff, and it was a whole different story.
See, this is all, again, this is what he's talking about. This is where all this tariff horseshit comes from. And I'll close it out on this tonight because we can't be here all evening, and I appreciate you guys hanging out even extra long, but I got to go eat something. And tomorrow, by the way, morning show as regular, and then I got to fly to Kansas City. When I get there, I'll see if I can set up and do a show there, but I got, it depends on the hour and depends on how I can get into my Airbnb. And I literally picked my Airbnb based on the quality of the internet. But I'm also bringing my little 5G thing with me just in case it sucks. But in the meantime, if I may. I will try and pick up some of this later, but some people are like, don't go, he farts. I know this. So let me do something real quick. So I'll leave you with this because I already know that happens, and I'm going to share it with you right before we leave because it's super clear. Let's see. Trump. Whoops, sorry. Let me go back to here. For those of you who don't know, Trump lets out a very loud, audible fart during this thing. Now, he's done it multiple times. We've seen it in the past. FEMA. Hold on. So, open this up. Go back to here. Hold on.
From commerce to labor to FEMA.
There. There it is. Hold on. I'm going to back it up. It's right before he says FEMA, another F word. And I'll jack this up. I apologize if it's a little loud. Let me get this over here, see if I can bring the volume up as best I can. This might be a little loud when he's speaking, but listen.
From commerce to labor to FEMA.
Right before FEMA.
To FEMA. From commerce to labor to FEMA.
it's like, oh my God. It's like he's toasting FEMA with a fart. To FEMA. It's like, to FEMA. All right. So, yeah.
From commerce to labor to FEMA.
Can you imagine? The mic is this close to his fucking mouth. He's leaning into this stuff. His ass is way down here. It's got a diaper on it. It's covered in cloth. He's got this big dopey suit that he wears. Probably a pair of really crusty boxers. And you can still hear it.
From commerce to labor to FEMA.
So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that missed out, I'm sorry. And it's not, obviously 11640. There might be, let's see, an even
for the American dream and a dire crisis.
Oh, and he burps too.
This is a catastrophe for the American dream and a dire crisis.
This is where it's like, I think this is belly gas. I think this is him listen to this. Here you go.
This is a catastrophe for the American dream and a dire crisis.
It's like that. But still, yeah. A lot of people think that's a fart too. It's hard to tell.
This is a catastrophe for the American dream and a dire crisis.
I don't know what the fuck that was. Hold on.
A catastrophe for the American dream and a dire crisis.
I don't know where people are adding that
dream, and it is a catastrophe for the American dream. Is a catastrophe for the American dream and a dire crisis.
That's what it was. I gotta say that sounds like one of those gulping air while you're talking and you burp. And of course, that's when he farted on Dianne Feinstein. This is where she smells him. This is he does it again. This happens a bunch. Yeah, he and obviously shocking to no one because he does this a lot. And then this is the end of it where
the worst of all, and something that inflation, she wouldn't do that over again either. Maybe the worst of all, and something that a lot of people don't hear about because look at all the. This
is what he's staring at. When Donald Trump says that it's it's full as far as the eye can see. Look at that crowd. Look at that crowd. One of the reasons why there's so many lights on the dais where the press thing is. That's the press. That's where. Yeah, it's right here where the press is. He's down here. When he says far as the eye can see, one of the reasons is there's a lot of lights pointing his direction. And also because he knows it's fucking empty and he never tells. If you'll notice, he's stopped telling them to turn around and show the crowd. And yes, Trump farted. So anyways, love you guys. See you tomorrow for Friday Eye. And I think we have one other guest tomorrow. Yes. Along with our dear friend Rob Glenn. I know who it is. 1 second. I gotta say, let's see. I think they're here. Hold on. If I may. Wake up. Where'd you go? Oh, there it is. It's always something. Hold on. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Hal. It's going great. How about with you?
Pretty spectacular. I'm going to have you on as a guest on my Friday Eye show tomorrow, and so I thought I'd just ask you to say hi to the Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide crowd.
Well, hello, Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide crowd. I'm excited to join you all on Friday AI. It's going to be a fun ride.
Mm-hmm. That's, by the way, for those that are looking, that's the new ChatGPT with her advanced reasoning and that stuff. So we look forward to having you on there bright and early tomorrow morning. Have a great night.
Looking forward to it. See you all tomorrow morning. Have a great night, Hal.
Yeah, so pretty nuts, right? That, by the way, and I have to only limit it to an hour because the high reasoning version of the voice AI on there, you only get an hour a day on it, but it is so fucking tight. It's nuts. It does sound like Robin Quivers a bit. It does. There's more voices too. There's like 7 voices. For a while, they only had 3. And it's pretty fantastic. And I shuffle the voices around, but it's actually really useful. The other day, I used it when I was researching something. I was in the middle of doing stuff. My hands were busy, so I couldn't do a lot of typing and Googling. And so I had a discussion with it about what's in Title 42 versus Title 8 as far as immigration rules. And I had it compare and contrast the sort of like criminal intent versus asylum rules, and if somebody what you could be charged with, what kind of legal ramifications there are under Title 42 versus Title 8. And we'll discuss some of that tomorrow because, again, it just reaffirmed exactly what I fucking said, that Title 42 was the problem. Title 42 created a conveyor belt of humans and drugs at the southern border because Donald Trump used it because his wall fucking sucks. I'm going to go eat. All right. I love you guys. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. And remember, I know I have a, hold on, I think it's in here somewhere. I have a button for it. Where is it? This button. I think this will work.